they flicker and the candles glitter like you're in a thriller. Heart goes pum pum pum. Ghostly figures, they can get so bitter. Sure you want to enter, you can turn back now. You don't know where I've been. What's going on inside? Where the monsters like to come alive, come alive. Do you really wanna know me? I'm really not that cozy. It's up to you, so you decide, you decide. Would you love me up my words till the coffin's in the dirt? Try to break me like a curse, you know that will never work. I'm a little bit absurd, I like dancing on the verge. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion, but could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're too scared, get out. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. Broken windows and a warning scribbled on my wall saying that you better turn around. Wouldn't be the first to try to burn me down. Your move, you do. Would you love me up my words till the coffin's in the dirt? Try to break me like a curse, you know that will never work. I'm a little bit absurd, I like dancing on the verge. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion, but could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're too scared, get out. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. Could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're just taking side. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. My words till the coffin's in the dirt. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's just plain good. Happy spooky season, gatekeepers. Welcome in, welcome in. Halloween is full tilt boogie up in here. I'm telling you what, we have been doing this since September. If you have been here for the pop up ghostly treat bags, we never know when they're going to come. And they might be 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. You never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates. And gatekeepers are in there. They're in the live chat and are having a blast and enjoying ghost stories or UFO abductions or a Bigfoot or a dogman or cryptids or gosh know what I think Saint Germain's in there and vampires and a bunch of other stuff. So you never know what you're going to get in the treat bags. Okay, just little treats. The other night we enjoyed what was it, gatekeepers? Welcome in everybody. The monkey's paw, right? It's a great little wonderful little film that we got to enjoy together. I thought they did a really good job on the monkey's paw. If you hadn't heard the monkey's paw, I have a little story. And there was a story I was going to tell. Who was in the live chat that I told you I had a little story? Do you guys remember what I told you I was going to tell? Well, tonight's guest is a great person to tell that with. And it had a little something to do with a bartender story. So remind me, and if we don't get to John too much, we'll tell that story and we'll see what Cyn has to thinks about it. So anyway, we were talking about the monkey's paw, and I shared with the live chat that the first time I heard this story, I was my mother had passed, and I was staying with my aunt and uncle who had two sons. One was in college, and one was a year ahead of me in school. So I think I was in sixth grade. He was probably in seventh. And we went to Gettysburg, and it was the first time I had been to Gettysburg ever. And we go there, and we stayed in a little hotel. And the whole place, if you've been on this show for, you know, just a hot minute, you know that I go to Gettysburg all the time. Love it, love it, love it. So that's my place. And so that was the first time. So it's really, profound. And we stayed in this little bitty motel on the battlefield. The whole thing is a battlefield. So wherever you're staying, you know that stuff was going on around you, right? So we're sitting there, and again, I'm a teenager, but still, it doesn't matter. You're in this spot, and you know what's going on. You've spent the day talking about what's been going on that property and that land, right? So it was just so perfect because my uncle, who never told stories, was old Italian. Just there's no mistaking this guy. He was that kind of forget about. You know what I mean? Jersey Italian, and he never told these kind of stories, and it just wasn't his shtick. But there we are, and we're staying in this hotel, and you could hear the crickets outside, and you could look outside and see the tree line and the whole thing out the window. And it was getting creepy, and they're winding us up, my aunt, my uncle, and again, out of character, but I guess they were just full of beans because they were on vacay. I just thought they'd let the hair hang down. And he tells this story right before we're ready to go to sleep, turn out the lights, right? So it was perfect. It's perfect. And he made it a Civil War soldier. He changed it. So the story wasn't, it was a son, but he wasn't coming back from the factory he worked at, wasn't the place. It was the war, the Civil War. So the first time I heard the story, and the first time I was ever in Gettysburg, I heard the monkey's paw told by my uncle, and my aunt just giggling in the background. It was a lovely memory. It was just fabulous for me. It was right up my alley. And and the best part about it was my cousin, who was older than me, and a guy got pretty darn scared, and I was pretty jazzed about that too. So you never get over hearing the ghost stories. So if you're looking for those, like I said, the treat bags are all over the channel. I think we've got 4 already, and one coming next week. Get in there and see them. They're great. If you're having an office party, put it on a laptop. Somebody's going to start watching a ghost story and start talking about it, and learning from everybody. Hey, Cyn, I see you. I'm about to bring in, girl. And welcome in tonight. Wonderful guest tonight. We're having a blast. We're going to have a blast. I already know it. Tonight I'm psychic, and I'm telling you it's true. Right up a blast. So that being said, go in there and see the Monkey's Paw. We've got that. We've got the Raven, wonderful Christopher Lee. Lots and lots and lots of Halloween surprises coming up. And we've got more. We're going to do the cabin live. In fact, I'm going to ask Cyn if she wants to sit in for one of those. We'll ask her tonight. I hope you will be sitting in with us. For those of you who heard Cabin 22, it's a narrative that I wrote and narrate. And we're going to listen live. And we've got some cool recipes to go with that. We'll talk more about that in the show. And without further ado, I messaged Cyn, and I told her this week, and it was true, that I had been going through some guest issues, which I never tell you guys about, rarely. Anyway, and so it was one of those, and it was just a real struggle. I mean, people are real busy this time in paranormal. I mean, go figure, right? And they're busy, and people trying to fit a lot of things in, and multiple interviews in the week, and we just love it. I'm not complaining about that. I'm saying it's a harder time, when you're shuffling around. And I looked at the calendar, and every time I looked at tonight and I saw who the guest was tonight, that it was this wonderful woman, and it made me smile, and it was like, oh, thank goodness. We're going to have a blast, and there's no prep that you have to do, because Cyn's been around a while. She's paid attention. She's one of us. She's an author. She has reached out in multiple different books on how to convey her vantage point through short, scary stories, through those wonderful bump in the night type stories, to books on EVPs that she's captured. Whispers in the Dark, I believe, is the name of that, and multiple other ones are just jam packed full of the juicy goodness of of what we really, really like in this subject. So tonight, gatekeepers, welcome yourselves in. Welcome in anybody new, but most of all, please welcome our guest. If I can find her little Brady Bunch square down here, there she is. Hello, welcome in, Cyn. Hello.
Hey,
It's
like
wonderful
that,
to have you.
that's not some pressure right there. All that build up, and now they're going to tune in and go,
Oh, it's her.
oh,
It's her.
oh,
Oh, this woman's batshit crazy. She gets along with Cisco really, really good. The good kind. I
how
told you
are
that too,
you?
didn't I? I'm fine, girl. I'm so glad to be here tonight. I've looked so forward to this, and I thought I've got all kind of goodies to throw your way, and I'm sure you do too, and the chat too. We're all jazzed up for Halloween. How about you?
Yes, always.
What are
Of
you
course, I'm
doing?
Halloween year round,
Me too. Me too. I don't
but
put
yeah,
my stuff up.
I don't either. I don't either. No,
It
why
goes in my
should we?
decor. At this age, it's, first of all, it's more work. Second of all, I like looking at it. I had family visit. I popped into the house, and was saying, stood in my studio and just looked around and went, and I'm like, she's probably scared to death, because it's just, there's, everywhere you look, there's a skull, there's a charm or a crystal, or it's creepy and wicked this and potion that and poison this and all this ghost spirits stuff all
And
over the place.
and when you sit down, isn't it so comfortable?
I love it so much.
I do too.
Does that
Well,
color me
I
crazy?
mean,
Color me
you can
crazy.
tell. You can tell.
Color color me crazy. I don't even have all my gears going, but I was pulling stuff out of the garage today, and I found a whole box of Halloween. It was the happiest moment of, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen this in like 2-3 years. It's little pumpkins and things like that. And I'm like, gosh, I got to find a spot. That's not going. That's the last thing you pack, right, Sid?
Exactly.
That goes
Exactly.
with me, my incense, my crystals, my sage, my don't separate. It's like separating me from my
Yeah.
purse. What are you, crazy?
Yeah. Exactly.
So, so how you been? Did you ever do that? Does that make you mad too? Separate
I
you from your
can't.
purse?
I
Don't
can't.
do it.
No,
Don't
don't do
do it.
it. Don't. Just don't.
Just don't.
Mm-mm.
And there's not even anything in there. It's a principle of the dang thing. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
It's a,
Well, I
you know
tell
that.
you too. Mine's pretty special because I wish I had it next to me right now because it was one of the last things I got from Wyatt.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
how
he
cool.
he actually gave me a purse that's
It's
got
extra good
sugar
energy.
skulls all over it, sugar skulls. And so it's
There you
perfect.
go.
It's
There you
perfect.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, that see, stuff like that. I love stuff like that. And it's, it's that's it right there. And if the chat doesn't remember, tell them a little bit about why, and real quick, go over that EVP you got from him. Because I was thinking about that past couple of days. I just thought it was wonderful. Could you? Do you mind?
Yeah. Sure. No, 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 no. First off, we lost my dad in '01, and so we were all devastated. Wyatt was a miracle baby. He was never supposed to be born. My sister was always told she would never have any at 16. 5 miscarriages later, she got pregnant with Wyatt. He stuck.
Yeah.
And of course, eh, you know, we just couldn't breathe. We were so excited. He was the only grandchild. His my nephew, he was my mini me. He acted like me. He cheesed for the cameras. He just
Same energy
mom.
field.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Same
mom. Even
energy field.
a
Yeah.
little boy, he would be cheesing for the camera, and mom would go, "It's just like
Just
Aunt
like you.
Cindy, just like Aunt Cindy."
Just
But
like you.
so we actually lost him at 19 and a half. So that was on April the
Oh
6th,
yeah.
2022. And it was just, we still can't believe it. But he's been checking in since day one. And he continues to check in with us, with
To have
me.
that kind of spirit guide, not to cut you off, but to have that kind of spirit guide, I have them as well. It's
Oh,
so special. It's so, because the trail, your way to each other through your energy, because you had this understanding beforehand,
mhm.
that it's a quicker little path, and it's so much more profound, so earlier in the game, and it's
Yes.
just amazing where it can go. It's amazing. Sorry to cut you off, but I had to.
No,
That
no, no.
energy is just bipping off again. Here we go. Here we
Here we
go.
go.
Hold
I
on. Here
know.
we go. Better hold on. Disclaimer. Sorry, YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. You'll probably have to cut us all off.
Who knows?
It'll be too much.
It's
But
no
so
telling, Sam.
I
Please
was
continue.
training him to be my videographer, and he had
Mhm.
gone on a few investigations with us. I made him wait until he was 18. I wish now I hadn't, but
Mm,
hindsight.
don't.
But
Yeah. Can't do
anyway,
it.
he had always heard me and my co-founder Sean say, "Okay, if you're here tonight, please speak as loud as you can into the little red or green light, whichever one we had."
Mhm.
And we would have a recorder close by. And so one night, back, it was the 23rd of February of this year, my sister was telling me a story that was just incredible. Just incredible. It's going to come out next year in the Signs 2 book. But long story short, it was divine intervention, and Wyatt had a little part in it. And anyway, while she was telling us the story, it was just the two of us sitting there on her couch. Her dog and her cat were asleep. The television was on, but it was on mute, complete mute.
Mhm.
And she was talking, and all of a sudden, you hear two little clicks in his voice,
Mhm.
and he was smiling as he said it.
Yeah, you
So
can hear it. You can hear it in his voice. You can hear the inflection of the smile. I mean, it's great. And I think it was the clicking. It was almost like fingers, like pop, pop. You know what I mean? Was he a finger snapper?
yeah,
Did he ever do that? Like, hey,
he was
for the puppy, or for, to get somebody's attention? Like, not in a rude
not
way. I
so
don't mean.
much a snapper, but he was a musician. He
Okay.
played drums, he
Yep.
played
Yep. Okay.
guitar, he played just anything he would pick up, he could play. He could keyboard, he could just he was incredible. It was
Awesome.
it was so much talent packed into one person, and
Right. Right.
he lived every minute. He lived every minute. So I don't
Well,
know,
it's a
should I play?
fantastic little story. Sure,
Do
please
you want me to
do.
play that?
You guys
Yeah.
want to hear that EVP? Listen to the inflection, but I want you to know, because it's going by so fast. They're slinging the bacon at you already, Sin. So they nothing but love your way, nothing but love.
Let's see. Let me see if I can. Okay, it take me just a minute. Just keep talking for just a second.
Me? Oh gosh. See, when somebody
Sure.
tells me to do it, I can't think of a thing to say. I get dumbfounded like a deer caught in the headlights. I'd be like, "What? Me?" What?
Okay, I got it. I got it.
All right,
So
go.
you're going to hear my sister talking, telling me this story. Here's just a few.
And
Hang on. Sorry.
I said, I don't know. It's just the number that
See, I thought I had it.
I
Okay.
called.
Okay. She's telling the
He would love
story.
to talk to her about cars and everything. And that's when then Josh said, he said, your son's name was Wyatt, and he drove an El Camino. And I said, yeah. And then he said,
Did you hear that?
Then he said,
Are you joking me? This is like so. You forget your class A, forget your class B and C and all this other stuff. If you ever hear paranormal people, investigators, whatever, talking and explaining an investigation, and they say, well, we got a couple of class C, but we got a class A or two, where you can really kind of tell what they're saying. This is just off the charts. This one goes up to 11,
Yeah.
for
And
my
it's-
Spinal Tap people out there.
And it's so much that a lot of people will think it's fake. But
Mhm.
as Mike told me, he said, Cyn, I hate to tell you, but people are going to say it's fake because it's so clear.
So good.
And I said, and that's the thing. I don't care.
No,
Because
see,
I know.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
See, I've got them
the thing
too.
is-
I've got them with big pink mist. Cyn, I'm standing in the middle of the wheat field. I'm going to ask you to play that one more time, but I got to tell you this.
Okay.
Standing in the middle of the wheat field. You know what I mean? Gettysburg. You know what it looks like,
Yeah.
and you know that wheat field and you know the story, screaming, young men screaming for their mothers, for each other, for water, for God, and then the hogs got out there, and the fog and the clouds of gunpowder still hanging in the air with the mist, the way that the hot day and the cold night, it was crazy. And this place is surreal. I mean, the whole place, Gettysburg, is surreal. The ice cream shop is surreal. The
All
whole.
of it.
But when you're standing in the middle of the wheat field by yourself, and you're honing in to what's surrounding you. So anyway, long story short, I wound up talking to them and asking permission. I'm Native American. That part of me always remembers the fact that they didn't want their picture taken not because they thought it stole your soul. People get that wrong. I believe, in my opinion, what they mean is you're selling yourself out cheap. You don't give something like that away, an image of yourself, or you don't sell your moccasins. You give them, you gift them. You see what I mean? It's different. So anyway, I don't know if any of that makes any sense, but I'm standing there in the middle of the wheat field, and I asked permission for these pictures, and I took a 360 complete turn, click, 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 just as much as I could all the way around, spinning. And I did this right after I sang Amazing Grace at the top of my lungs in the best redheaded Jersey Shore blues you ever heard, girl, and just let it pound out. I gave 2 good verses because I figured that's neutral. It's not Dixie. It's not
Right.
Yankee Doodle Dandy. I mean, it's, and I took these pictures, and as you look across the field, the length of it, because there's a road that cuts through, but for that, look in that direction, solid hot pink mist, like somebody just blew, a fog machine turned on a hot pink gel, and got the light, and then nothing. And then nothing,
Wow.
nothing. And then you look across at about a 180 from that pink mist. See the wood line in the old split rail fence, looking with the trees in the background. And you see them looking from behind the trees. I got one, and then one popped up behind the rock with the hat. More like a captain's in that era would have worn. I'm believing that this was probably, from where I gather, it was probably Confederate. And one of the kids was wearing a bowler and a black vest. I mean, you could see it, and you could see it move as 1, 2, 3 pictures and then gone.
Mm-hmm.
They just peeked out from behind the tree. Amazing. I could show that, and people, but nope.
Uh-huh.
I was the only living human being that I could see was standing in that field. I didn't know anything about Photoshop back then, or layering pictures or anything. This was going back 10, 11 years, somewhere around in there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't I wasn't smoking a cigarette and through a filter and all this other stuff. This is for real.
Exactly.
And when you stop the trying to prove it or disprove it and just understand what it's about. I think that's where we are trying to be in this show, in this podcast, in this whole thing, because we look at a ghost story not just for the enjoyment of the telling and the retelling and the amazement of it, but we also try to look at it for different parts of validation. And your EVP is so much in that realm, all of that, because it gives kind of a visual and a placement on that love connection, and you both understanding a little bit about this whole subject and a little bit more consciousness awake in this area, and then having that understanding before all of this just creates that easier path, so where you just can jet to the head of the class. It's amazing.
I think
Yeah,
so too.
definitely play it again. It again.
Okay, here's one more.
And I said, yeah. And then he said,
Did you hear that?
Then he said,
You can hear the smile. He's like, "Did you hear that?" Like a little cheeky monkey,
Yeah.
It's something. Yeah, it's something else. I love it. And see, that's the thing. If you can get to it to where you have that, and you can hear that inflection. Now, did I ever play that EVP for you that I got at Gettysburg?
I don't think so.
Talk about the youngins that we bring in, and like, I'm no teacher in EVPs or anything tech whatsoever. I'm not trying to give that, but my son had never done an EVP and just done a recording and asked questions and waited or anything like that. He's just not participated in that way. So long story short, we're at the Wyndham, we're in the Gettysburg. It's about 1:45 in the morning, that kind of crazy paranormal people. And
Yeah.
all through the day, and I think if I'm not mistaken, this was the second night, but at least all through that one day, people kept telling me that hallway, Cisco, you got to go tell us what you feel there. I'm getting this and this. And I'm like, okay, don't tell me anything. We'll match up later or whatever. But obviously multiple people were getting something in this hallway. So I take my son and I go walking, trying to go somewhere and fit everything in. We go walking down this hallway, and I said, well, stop. First off, there are huge wall-sized floor, and I mean floor to ceiling and mirrors. Okay. Straight up. And they're now worse yet than just a wall of those tiled mirrors. I'm not talking about that. These are ornate, old, antique looking gold lame framed, with the angels in the corner kind of frames, kind of huge. So, and the reason I'm pointing that out is because when you have a sheet, it's a little bit different, like a solid sheet mirror. It's a little bit different than sectioning these things off. You give each one individual power that way. I know that sounds strange, and I can't explain the quantum mechanics of that, but it's true. Okay.
Yeah.
So now they've got them one here and then zigzaggy.
Staggered. I remember the staggered mirrors. Now I don't remember the rest of the story though.
And so I think it's the zigzag energy. Okay. Then you've got angry employees coming out the back door and coming in the side door. That was their bathroom and their entrance into, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic, guys, into their storage area. And these are the people that are cleaning up and just pissy. So you got that energy going on. So anyway, we go walking down, and did I play this for you? Because this is incredible. Sit down.
I think you told about it, but I don't think
Okay. So we go and we sit down, and I get a feel something's going on. I got the dowsing rods, and I run through all my stuff. I do the thing. Okay. And I'm down to the point where I've got the dowsing rods. My son's sitting next to me, and somewhere in the middle of this conversation, he decides to pull his phone out and record this. First time ever he's done this. You just want to like, what? And he gets this. This is crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, those people that have been going 20 years, nothing. It's crazy. So we're sitting there, and we've established, snow, the crossing, uncrossing, all of this. and I feel this female presence behind me, at least, kind of off to the side, and it's young and female, definite, you know, and nothing, no agitation, no nothing, just chill. And I'm asking questions like, do you feel stuck? Do you need help? Are you, of course, I'm given time to answer, but I'm asking him, are you attached to someone who works here or someone that's visiting here? Or are you from the property? We've established that they had come with someone, which is cool.
Okay.
And I was kind of leaning toward that. And I said, do you feel stuck? And you'll hear it. It's incredible. And you'll hear the inflection and see what else you pick up. Can you tell us your name? Okay. Thank you. Just speak into the recorder and we'll see if we can get anything back, okay? I would really like to help you. Can you tell me, do you feel stuck here? Yes or no? Remember, no is to separate them. Now, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
Well, she's obviously not stuck, or she would have told you she was.
Exactly.
And she didn't sound distressed at all.
You heard it in her voice. Like, Cyn, I swear to you, this is the thing. When I'm getting that answer, you hear the hesitation. I'm just sitting there with dowsing rods in her chair. They're right here. I can feel them now. I'm like getting in touch with them. And they're like, no, we don't need help. And I'm tired. I'm like, if you don't need help, I'm going to go to bed. I'm like thinking stuff like this, before they confirmed it with the voice. Now, we didn't hear that till just after, not in real time. We heard it after.
Right.
So I was already convinced enough with just the dowsing rods and stuff that they were cool, but to go back and get that and be confirmed. Now, what I got was 2 separate female by that time. And you can
I heard
hear
the first one early on. I couldn't exactly hear what she said.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, my external speakers aren't very good, Cisco.
Right. It's okay. So it's just what I'm hearing, and I'll play it one more time. I'm sorry it's long and I can't fast forward or anything. It's just one of those things. But you hear the first one. I don't want to put thoughts in your head, but it's so distinct that she's kind of like thinking about it. I'm almost getting the thing that she's thinking about it before she answers and goes, no. And then there's another distinctive separate voice, another young female, probably younger, standing a little bit more away from her and a little further away from me, which is exactly how I felt it. And the sound comes out that way. She's a little further away, took a little longer to answer. And same thing, like in agreement. No. A little faster, a little different in the inflection. I'll play it one more time. It's insane, and I wish I could turn it up too, but I can't. So, we just have to roll with it, but it's so cool. Can you tell us your name? Okay. Thank you. Just speak into the recorder and we'll see if we can get anything back, okay? I would really like to help you. Can you tell me, do you feel stuck here? Yes or no? Remember, no is to separate them. Incredible is that?
I love it.
2 separate and distance apart from each other. The more you hear it, and I'll send it to you. You can listen to it at home with your thing because I love your thoughts on it. But it's and it's exactly the thing that blows your mind is it's exactly how I felt it.
Mm-hmm.
With all my filters, and here it does the sound after the fact we hear, and it validates what I was feeling. That it doesn't get better than that.
No. And you bring up the perfect point though, Cisco. It's what you feel at a location that should drive how you react around them. So, I mean, you already knew they weren't upset. You felt it, you know?
Right. Right. And you hear all that stuff. And I'm sorry, I forgot to explain too that this is on. I don't know if you've ever been at the Wyndham, but if not, you've got to go to the Bash next year. You just have to
I would
do it.
love to.
You
Yeah,
just have
I
to
would
do it.
love to.
And it's the people and it's the, I mean, they're all different, but bashes and things like that. The cons I'm talking about. But this one's special because where it is and the people that are around you. If you catch my drift, it's a different, more
Exactly.
quaint feel. But so anyhow, the Wyndham, this is a huge place. Now, this was again, like I said, probably almost 1 o'clock in the morning. The DJ had torn down at midnight. There was nobody in this hotel at where we were on that whole downstairs hallway. We're at the very, very end, and the hallway is just like every conference room, hotel kind of thing. And we're on that back banquet end.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the only people you hear, this sounds like a party going on there. I assure you there wasn't. There was 4 or 5 people all the way. So if you imagine this like a big L, okay, we're at the very top of where the letter starts. They're at the
Mm-hmm.
very tip at the boot, the toe of the boot of the L.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so you have to allow for echo, and
Right.
because of the way it's built and the glass and the way the freaking mirrors. But they sound like they're right there, and they're not.
They did. They
And they're
did.
not. They're like, because look, we passed them on the way in. We passed them, and they were like the last people coming off the porch. You know what I mean? Helping each
Mhm.
other. It's getting late, and there's been some drinking going on. So. And we're passing them, yeah, have a good time. Yeah, go swoop, and then we went on our business, and they were way back there. It's funny. There was nobody in the conference. Everything was shut down. No employees. No conference center was all locked up. It was nuts, man.
It's awesome, though.
And when you don't expect it,
Exactly.
Cyn,
Well,
So
we go into investigations hoping to get something. And
Yep.
every time my expectations are high, if someone has told me, especially like at an old historic location, I have found out
Thanks,
if
guys.
someone
Thank you.
tells me before I go, you're going to be amazed how haunted it is.
Yeah.
I don't get anything.
It matters. Look, we've got so many investigators in here, and guys, if I miss something you say, I just get so excited when this kind of energy is going on, because this is what we do this for. This is what you seek those people that you don't have to do a lot of explanation. I can't even speak, but you know what I mean? To where everybody's right there, you could just dive in. It's like, wow, after you've had to like drag some people, sometimes you think, oh gosh, or you don't, or it's a little different because it's you're in territory you don't understand. Like, say I have somebody on and they're talking about Tesla or something like that. I'm learning, and it's a different kind of deal, where we're just having a good time. We're talking about what we've learned, been out there. We don't understand it. Here it is. What do you think? This is what I think it is. This is what I hope it is. This is what I know it's not. That's kind of where we're at, and it's so neat because this is what we do this for, to get with other people and go, what do you think about this? How do you look at this? What do you think? Do you think it was the guy woke up something in the house? Did the house wake up something in the guy? Was it both? Because I have a situation. I think it was both, Cyn.
Well,
I lived that one.
Well, the Gettysburg one, everything was going on that day. So, the ones that wanted to speak were excited people were there that would speak to them.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And then
they know they're different, though, because you've got so many different kinds there. So when you're standing there, as well as I do. Look, who am I dealing with? Am I dealing with, and again, guys, we're talking about Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Huge Civil War battle. We got people all around the world. So if you don't know, this was a horrible, horrible battle. It was a 3-day battle, 96 degrees. They're wearing wool. They're wearing hard leather shoes, no socks. These boys suffered. You know, they never gave up. The intestinal fortitude of these people are just like, you know, all the, you know, the heroics on this field from both sides are just beyond amazing. And then you've got to throw in the horses and the weather and the desperation, you know, of this is going to be the big one. You know, it
Right.
has to be that God chose this at this time, at this spot for all converging arm. You know, it had it all, you know, the townspeople, 2,000 people in town. And in one day, I think a little more than an afternoon, over 158,000 soldiers from all directions converged on this little bitty town. That's a big deal.
Massive. And
Horses.
just driving into Gettysburg feels like hallowed ground, doesn't it? It's just
weight
that feet.
Yes. It just right on your chest,
Yes.
on your chest. You know, I
Yes.
mean, it's so, oof, dude.
And it's one of those places that when you go in, I mean, I've got tears in my eyes right now.
I know. Oh
But
God.
it's one of those places that you never think about telling a joke or anything jovial. It's just you are quiet.
Reverence.
You're
Total
respectful.
reverence, dude. It's just,
Yes.
it's so overwhelming. And again,
And it's just understood.
Yeah.
That's just understood too.
Yeah. And when you go with like-minded people and, you know, they're at the level of, you know, you don't have to tell people no provoking. We're not going to do this. We're not going to whistle Dixie over on the Union side. You know, you've got to we got to trade books. Let's just make a vow right now. We're going to trade books. I'll sign mine, send you one, you send me one, you sign, because you got to read my Gettysburg chapter.
I would love to.
The crazy amount of stuff that happened. I mean, I can't even. But I wound up crossing 7 that night. And here's the reason. And I know it sounds nuts, but I'm just mad about it because that's how it happened. I go to this place and there's this guy giving a tour. And I walk in and I could feel how jaded he was, how he didn't want to be there. I was getting stuff like volunteer fire department. We're older guy, older vet. He's like, I want to push a 70. You know, but he's a historian. He's dressed, you know, and he's the guide, and it's at the Farnsworth. Okay, so we're in the cellar of the Farnsworth, and that's a mourning room. If you've ever been to Gettysburg, they have it set up like the casket's there. They have a mannequin dressed all in black with a black veil. They've got how it would look if you were going down there to mourn someone before a burial. And usually they go in there and tell stories about the home and who lived there and the family and stuff like that. It's really, they have several different themed things that go on at the Farnsworth. I think there's something different going on every level, and good food, you know, good, like you want a good Yankee pot roast, you know, you can homemade bread and stuff. It's great. And the pictures, all the pictures in that place. San, have you been?
I have not.
Well,
you're twisting my arm, though. You're twisting my arm. You have to
go. We have to go. We have to have some pot roast. I'll go with you. And I can show you that each of the pictures there, every single damn one of them, the eyes follow you through the whole place.
Wow. I'm going to have to pick something beside pot roast, though.
Okay. Well, it's a thick menu. And I'll tell you what, I've got my favorites. I do. It's a good home cooked meal, whatever you choose there, because that's the whole shtick, you know. So the Dobbins, it's in a haunted bar. It's Boston lager and onion soup.
Wow.
Stone, was used as a hospital. They all were.
Yeah.
But this is you know, I want to say untouched, but damn near. You know, this is I think it's the oldest building in Gettysburg, the Dobbins. I could be wrong on that, but I think it is. And the guy had something like 16 kids, built it for his family, maybe more. Can one of my mods check that out? The guy who built the Dobbins it could have been more. I think I'm undercutting that. I think he had more than that. But check that out for me and tell me. Cathedral, I'll have it here in about 30 seconds. But yeah, that's incredible. And you go down in the cold cellar and you can feel it. You sit at the bar, it's all dark wood and stone and candlelight. What could be bad about
What could
that?
be? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And you're sitting down there and you're drinking a cold beer or whatever, and you feel it. It's there. It's like being on that field with this guy. So anyway, this guy turns out to be Joe, and I know he's jaded, and I know whatever. So I fast track through, and I cut through all the BS, and I get his attention. I tell him, look, you don't have to worry about us, because he's talking about provoking, and a woman got slapped across the face a couple of days ago. Guy got punched in the stomach for playing a harmonica with trying to egg people on and stuff. These ghosts have had it, Cyn.
yeah,
Think about it.
yeah.
Every hour on the hour. Here they are. Can they leave? Well, some of them may be able to, but see, again, I go back to that question. What kind of ghosts are you dealing with? Because you're
Right.
standing there, you might have 50 of them. You might be aware of 15, 20. After that, it gets a little hazy. But different energies stand out to you. So you might have an erratic one. You might have one that knows a little bit more of what's going on, doesn't want to leave his brothers. So he's hanging with them. You have some that are hanging under a certain tree or by a certain wood line because it hasn't changed much over time. You name it, it's all there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all soaked in. It's just completely soaked in. All the rock, all the wood, all the dirt, everything up there. It's just seeped in, and it's there.
The tree we've talked about here on the show, the witness trees are, the roots soaked up the blood. I mean, this is the boys that were there. So yeah, so fast track I get to this guy and I say, you don't have to worry about us. Look, my sons are going through all the equipment. They got the night vision on, they're playing with the little recorders. They give you little EVP meters and stuff like that, the flashlights. And I just finally went up to this guy. I said, look, Joe, I said, look, you don't have to worry about us. I said, I'm here. I'm a vet. We're here with reverence and respect. You don't have to worry about this crowd. I said, but what I would like is if once we get out there, if I ask you to, will you go off like about 10 feet and just let me be for a minute? I promise I'm not going to do anything, bad or anything. And he said, why, you gonna try to get some EVPs or something? I mean, he brightened up and was kind of
yeah,
a little bit more lighter by the time
more alive.
I found out he was with a decent crowd. There was a couple of doctors there, and their son, 10-year-old son, who was so excited, explaining all the equipment. It was lovely to see. And then there was another little group, husband and wife, and he was excited and telling her about it. It was a tight little group. Late at night, midnight, it's Halloween. It's Mischief Night. The night, and look, they don't celebrate it on that day, so it wasn't Mischief Night there, but it was Mischief Night. You know what I'm saying? They change it. Town changes sometimes. So we're there, and it's the 150th anniversary, Cyn.
Okay.
So it couldn't be any better.
That was this past time, right?
150th. We're almost at the 160th now. So this is 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So he looks down at me, and now that he knows I'm a vet and stuff, he's talking to me different things, and he's kind of looking at me, I'm like, yeah. And he says, going to do an EVP? And I said, no, honey, I'm going to cross him. And he said, what? And he smiled, and his whole face changed. He just looked at me, and I said, would you trust me to do that? And he said, he thought for a moment. He said, I think I would. And I said, let's go do it, Joe. So we go, and he's like got a little pep in his step. I mean, my sons were there. They could verify this all happened. So we go we hit the witness tree. Now we're back there kind of by the school, where they recorded, I can't remember what movie it was, probably several, not Gettysburg, but it was something else. Anyway, we're there in the field, and big old tree, and I feel it, and they're there. They're in the dang tree, Cyn. I feel them above me. And Joe's going on, and I said, Joe. And he looked at me. I said, go on. And he says, turns around. God bless him. He's all lit up now. He turns around and he says something along the lines of, yes, that's a witness tree. That tree was here the day of the battle. And he's going on. I said, no, Joe. I said, I know. They're sitting in it. Go. And he let me do it, Cyn. And my son stayed, and they're recording stuff. I didn't even know I was full tilt boogie. because I could feel them right there, and I could feel that there was 2 or 3 that knew exactly what I was up to, that knew exactly why I was there, that there was something different, because all 3 of them were going like, "Hold on a minute." You
Mhm.
know what I mean? "Hold on a minute." And then I get, because in the background, I'm getting stuff like, "Just another one to go. Here comes some more of 'em." I mean, really, like, you could get this from the ghost. One of the ghosts that was there, you could get this kind, "What do you wanna listen to them for?" You know, that kinda thing. And then you got this one agitated one that was just, like, doing a figure 8 pacing right underneath the tree. It was insane.
Mhm.
And I'm feeling all this. I'm not saying anything. I'm just jumping to it, and we're doing intent. Read my intent. Hey,
Mhm.
hey, can anybody understand me? Can anybody hear what I'm saying? Read my intent. I drop all my equipment. I go full on dowsing rods. I
Mhm.
just need a real quick validate, validate, validate. And as it turned out, the fast pace of this one is, I had, let me talk to the highest ranking person here. Talk to me. Look, I'm sorry I'm wearing pants. I know I'm not speaking your language, but if you notice things are kind of different, okay, are you tracking me here? Because soldier to soldier, I convinced him that I was a vet, and they, and I'm like, look, read my intent. If you just go to that, because they're so telepathic, especially if they've been practicing, they
Mhm.
knew how to use the equipment, Sin. Like,
Really?
they were, I dropped what I had. They give you a bag of stuff. You know, you can imagine all the stuff's in it. So I had an EVP meter on the ground, but there's no magnets under the ground that people are underneath doing this, making it go on and off. You know, there's just, that's silly.
Mhm.
I had the dowsing rods in my hand, so I couldn't hold anything, and that's at my feet. Joe walked by. I had my eyes closed, and I'm kind of like looking around, like, what's going on around me? What do I see or feel? You know, close back down again. I'm getting glimpses. Joe came up at one point, stood there, and put a flashlight at my feet and just touched it. Do you know how you do with just barely on, not on? Sets
Mhm.
it next to the EVP meter. And when I asked a question, these guys were so about it. There's about 4 strong ones up front now, others in the back and around. They're following the lead. Talk to the
Mhm.
highest ranking guy, right?
Right. Right. Right.
They're
Right.
they're following their lead, and they're kind of circling them in and gathering as I'm doing this. It was wild. So I ask a question, and the dowsing rods would cross for yes. The EVP meter would go all the way up to orange or red. I mean, just whoop, and then the flashlight would go on and then go off again. Bip, bip, bip. Everybody saw it. They knew every hour on the hour, Sin. Do you see what I
Wow.
mean?
Yes.
They knew
Yes.
the equipment. I wasn't asking to take
Mhm.
pictures. I wasn't asking what the war was like. I'm like, who wants to go home?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gather them up. Let's go. In 25 minutes, 7.
Wow, Cisco.
7. But it wasn't, it wasn't me. I'm a vessel. But you know what it was? The gathered spirits I got on the other
Yeah.
side that know what to do. They're like hall monitors. They're holding doors open. They're going, "Go get his mother." Like,
Mhm.
stand,
Yeah.
tell her, stand in the light, call him. They're
Mhm.
doing all this. We're just there being a conduit, you
Mhm.
know? I mean, and that's just piddly old me. I don't know much.
That's
I know
incredible, though.
I know incredibly wise people that go out there and do this all the time. You never hear about it.
Right. Right. And you don't. You want to hear, I mean, people hear about the sensationalism. That's they want the
Every
jump scares just like the haunted house.
Yeah.
And there's some spirits out there that would rather be somewhere else.
Just trying to sort it, and that's why I think it's so important. It's so easy to use like these battlefields as an explanation, because you might have a house with multiple spirits in it, and this is so true. Um, but I was looking to see if I got an answer to that. Did anybody find that answer? How many kids did
I
Dobbins
saw
have?
I saw back
Somebody
up a
put,
little bit. Somebody did.
what was it, guys? It's an
Reverend
amazing amount of kids, right? They're
is
just
right.
having a good time talking.
Reverend Dobbins, and that isn't that who you're talking about?
Yep. You see it?
10 kids, it says.
10. Okay, well, I gave him a few more. Well, who knows? He was in about around that town, so we don't know. I might be right, not know it. Right?
He
Who
might
knows?
be. We
I
won't.
mean, he was building more
Allegedly.
jump houses. Allegedly. Makes a hell of an onion soup, I'll tell you that right now. And it keeps the beer cold. So, and it's so beautiful. I mean, they've got the wrought iron candle holders down there, Cyn. You know, I mean, it's just period perfect, you know. Don't you just love Gettysburg?
Yes. Yes.
It's so much to learn from.
There's really the whole state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really in the whole state, all the way across.
Yeah.
It's just
I've been to Fredericksburg, lovely, wonderful the way they've got it set up. You know, the whole Angel Marie Heights, the whole, I mean, gosh, you stand at that wall, forget about it. You know, I don't know, you know the story, the Angel Marie Heights. No. Oh gosh, that one killed me. I'm such a goof, man. I'm such a soldier at heart. You guys got to understand. I used to get like a Soldier of Fortune magazine, and I used to get and I used to look forward to it. I was like, oh, and I used to get the Civil War magazine, which I just love the artwork. It's just amazing. It's just something about it. I swear I'm reincarnated from that time. It just looks so familiar to me. It's weird. But anyway, so I'm reading in there about the Angel Marie Heights, and it just broke my heart. And I finally got to go there. And when I finally got to go, there was such a buildup over time of visiting this story. So basically what it is, again, Fredericksburg, horrible day. There's this one stone wall, and the way everything was set, the way the grounds were set, everything was going like uphill. And these guys didn't have the high ground. So there were, both sides were there, and when you hit that wall, with the middle between the wall and the top of the high ground coming down the hill, everybody just kind of bunched up against that wall and in the field right in front of it. And this was, again, like the wheat field all night long. They're moaning, but once you popped your head out behind the wall, you get shot. Couldn't go get the wounded. This kind of thing. It was hideous. It was a meat grinder. So both sides had dead, dying, and severely wounded in this field. So this young man finally had enough. And he went around and got all the water from everybody's canteens that he could, and filled his canteen, jumped the wall, and went out there and started giving water to all the wounded, no matter which side. Wow. And because he showed that compassion to both sides and said a few words to each person, and all the fighting, all the shooting stopped and ceased for the amount of time it took him to go around, get a refilled canteen, and give everybody water on that field. Once he hit that over that stone wall again, the shooting commenced.
Wow.
And that's why the Angel Marie Heights, it just got me, you know.
Yeah.
But that's why Civil War gets me too, because of the camaraderie, not just the camaraderie amongst your own side, but when it got dark, they would cease to fight, for the most part. And they would go to the fence and trade. Hey, you got any? Hey, John Reb, you got any of that good old Virginia tobacco? You know, you got any of that good old molasses? You know, you got this, you got that, you got any of that coffee? And they trade, over the fence. It's nuts, isn't it? Nuts.
Isn't it devastatingly sad, though? That's just, that's heartbreaking.
You got to read that chapter, though, man. I'd love to know what you think. I really would love to know what you think, because when I wrote it, I mean, we're going back years now that I did the book together. When I wrote it, it was so hard to describe what it's like to be there. And I spoke to several people. I don't know if you know Keystone State Paranormal out there, Jim Wyrick and Dave and Mike Simpson and all of them. There's so many groups, but you may have bumped into them, not known it even. Right. But they're that whole group is of that intent we're talking about. Like they're overall they have equipment and things like that, but they all work together and take in everybody's abilities, whether that be the ability to, as a photographer, or to read, certain equipment, or to whatever it may be, or natural abilities. Everything is taken in like I use the term all the time, like a blues fest or a jazz, a jam session, and you just get up with the right musicians, and that song is so beautiful, and it's ringing all those notes, and everybody's hair standing up on end, That's what it's like when you're with a good group, that everybody's playing their instrument, doing their thing, you
Doing
know?
what's right. Yeah, and
Yeah.
doing what's right.
Yep. And again with, Wyatt, it goes back to that EVP and the fact that it could come over so clear, and so you could hear the inflection in the voice and the smile on it, that kind of cheekiness behind it, just like those girls in that EVP with that no, no,
Uh-huh.
you know, incredible. And people miss this all the time, Sin, when they're arguing about whether something is real or not real or photoshopped or not you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I've had some EVPs from the typical Get Out. That was my
Oh,
very first class A, Get Out.
wow.
And that's the one
It's a
that
heck of
most
a
everyone
first.
hears, when they go
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
But I've had some from different places where the spirits are actually laughing at us and making fun of us, or I was coughing. I had some allergy um,
Wow.
issues at this one commercial property here in the county, and I was struggling a little bit. So I had my a drink, I had my cell phone on airplane, and I was playing solitaire, trying to get something around me. So I had my K2, I had my recorder going, and I had a sun drop, playing solitaire, waiting for something to happen.
Playing
And,
solitaire for one.
anything, right?
Right, it's
And
reminding me of that old song. Go ahead.
I just, every once in a while, I go, the EVPs I got were like, and
Mocking, mocking
yeah,
you.
and then they'd go, coughing, coughing, isn't she? And just
Wow.
making fun, just
Yeah.
making fun.
And see, I tell people this, and you don't understand. Like people go into something and they'll, hey, places we've spent all this time, we did all these things, and we had the stuff, and we got nothing. And I'm like, well, they're there. They were probably sitting back and just didn't want to play your game or ask you, answer your
Right.
questions or participate, because we get that all the time. I did a couple of shows. I love to look back at the history of, go all the way back to like Harry Price in the Borley Mansion, or go all the way back to Peter Underwood, the president of the Ghost Hunter Society in the UK for like 40 years. These guys were just, real trailblazers, when it comes to stuff, whatever you want to say about them. They had the equipment, they had the gadgets, they had the stuff. They sat in these old dusty places and listened to these, pin drops, and they, as soon as the recording and things like that were available, Peter Underwood has one, and it's the way he told it. Again, another cheeky monkey. He kind of sits there and he goes, "It's a shame we didn't have, the cameras going or whatever at the time, and their camera is like the stand-up kind with the, the whole, it's going way back, 38, 40s here,
Okay. Okay.
and they got a reel-to-reel tape, I believe it was, of ghosts overnight saying it's looking at, it's looking, and that was female. Male saying it's looking at us.
The camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole day they're there, 2 days, these old, farts are running around, and they're dressed to the nines, by the way, in their tweed 3-piece suit, and just dappers all get out. God love them. And they're all doing their investigations like we would, the same as we would now. This is just late 30s, early 40s. And throughout, he stayed pretty active all the way into the 70s, I believe. And then he did a radio show where he told his stories in short little kind of Alfred Hitchcocky kind of way, where he just spoke the story. And so we got a lot of that, which is wonderful. And this is
Right.
one of those where he was saying it's a shame we didn't, have any pictures, and it's just, how intense is that? And you have people knocking each other over now trying to get a fraction of something like that. I mean,
Right.
thousands of dollars on equipment. And if they did get it today, like you said, what would happen? That's not true. It's too good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, and you have to be skeptical. You do. But,
Yep. Don't throw the baby out with the, or, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen to somebody. Listen. I
Yeah.
mean, decide on your own how it made you feel when you heard it. But the
Mhm.
one that caught the EVP most likely is the one they were talking to.
And so many, and people say that too about the Get Out. And I, I have my own theory on that. I got my own theory on anything. Trust me, ask me, I'll tell you. But anyway, the Get Out is such a guttural force of two syllables. Get out. It's easy to say. I
Right.
find that a lot of ghosts that are verbally communicating, whether it be through EVP or real time sound or whatever, like the whole room hears it. You've got it where the equipment picked it up,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody heard it in the room. And then you've got it where everybody in the room heard it and the equipment didn't pick it up. Or you
Uh-huh.
have where they both get it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no.
Or
Yeah.
you've got 3 separate recorders and it picks one.
Yes.
You know, they can pick where they want to come through, who they want
Girl,
to.
I have seen full on apparitions in pictures and shown it to 3, 4, 5 people. Now, there's a lot of different, things that happen with this. Either the person will see it right out of the get without
Right.
you pointing it out already. They see it automatic. And other people, you can circle that thing with red marker, whatever. They're never going to see it.
No.
Then I've seen the next one where the ghost changes the picture.
I'm telling you.
Right before your eyes.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about all that stuff where people can do like the, hold the camera up to their forehead and like blink and the picture goes on the film. I'm not talking about the famous
No.
1970s where they've got the Polaroids and the ghost is writing in like ectoplasm or smoke or whatever words. Do you remember that? That's
Yeah.
going way back.
Yeah.
That's an old like unsolved mystery or some mess. I don't know what it was. But anyway, very famous for its time. I mean, and nobody ever disproved these guys and their film, And one that just blows my mind was a train wreck. Goes way back. It was famous. It was a little town, a little mining town. Let's just figure like a coal train, like in the West Virginia or something.
Mm-hmm.
There was a horrible train wreck off of one of these bridges. And they were blaming it on the crew. Okay. And it wasn't their fault. It was the bridge. So one of the crew members would haunt this area. And I can't remember if they made like a restaurant out of the caboose or, like a history thing, something like that. There was some kind of connection with parts of this train. He keeps showing up. He's showing up in all the pictures, people's tourists and stuff taking pictures. He's showing up, photobombing, in his overalls and his little hat, his little engineer hat. And this is going way back.
He's still working.
Still going,
He's still working.
Mm-hmm. And so, and he keeps pushing on certain people that are frequent this place. And again, I can't remember if it's a restaurant or something along those lines, but it would be like certain townspeople going all the time. This one lady, her and her cousin or sister or something, he kept pestering them and showing up in the pictures. And until he pushed her to go, and it's like, I'm gonna find out about this because I got a feeling that this guy, is trying to tell us something. So she goes digging around, finds out, sure enough, they were blamed. It was the bridge. It was a cover up in town. All kinds of like Pandora's box. All this stuff come out. This big corruption. Now, all the pictures that he was in, I swear to you, the pictures that he had showed up in, once the truth was told, guess what happened?
He disappeared from all of them?
From the pictures. And it didn't matter if it was because this is going over again about 20, 2 decades, about 20 years. So you have Polaroid film, you got Instamatic film, you got
any of it.
You got all of it. Same.
Wow.
Same. Because
he can rest. He can rest now. He doesn't have to show up.
He was finished, Yeah.
Yeah. Did I tell you the paranormal email story? Did I tell you guys that?
No. Tell us. Tell us, and I'm gonna play your video so you can see all the wonderful books that Cyn wrote and everything. We have a little video. of all her wonderful books, and we're going to ask her questions about them. And we're going to also have breaks. I have a Halloween surprise video for you. Cyn can just make you smile from one end of your jack-o'-lantern to the other. Go ahead, Cyn.
You want me to tell it now or wait?
Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll make them wait for the video. We're just that kind of
Okay.
podcast. We're just mean.
Well, so I had someone reach out to our group to investigate her home, and we did. Then her friend reached out to me and sent some clips and said, I heard that you have investigated my friend's home. I need you to listen to these clips. So she sent one from every room in the house, including one from her closed car that she was not inside. And it was just a couple of minutes for each one. And then also she sent a video and said, tell me what you see and hear in this video. The video was first. That was the very first thing she sent by itself. And it had no sound. And I said, I'm so sorry. I said, there's nothing paranormal in your video at all. And I can't hear anything because there's no audio attached. And immediately she sent me these clips from around her house and in her car. Parked, turned off car. And so
I don't know why that's extra creepy, but it is. Do you know what I'm saying? It's extra creepy.
Yeah, it gets unbelievable. So I went through and I pulled out what I could. There was only one I couldn't use because she had it sitting too close to the radio. So it was pulling in, all the radio song, and I could hear nothing else beside whatever was playing. Right. So anyway, I sent those back to her, and she sent me, and that exhausted me just doing those. And then she sent me 2 more clips, and I thought, I'll do those tomorrow. Didn't even open them. So I closed my computer, and without going into it, my husband and I got into a little spat over nothing, one of those little things that, well, we made up and everything was fine. It didn't last long. So the next night, fast forward 24 hours, and I'm opening up my email that I got the night before. And the very first one was to her, and it was calling her name and saying that they weren't going to leave her alone, no matter what kind of help she got, that they were coming after her. And then the second one I opened up was to me. And it said, if they called me Cindy and said, Cindy, come down here with us. We'll take care of that problem for you. You won't have to worry about him ever again.
Oh, wow.
And I
thought,
what?
Dude, yeah, I know what you mean.
I couldn't, I was like, no, I just made that up in my head. I made that up. So I listened again, the exact words. And I closed my computer. I sent her that first one and said, I'm so sorry, but this is the last one I can help you with. Mm-hmm. That's all I can do.
Got to cut it off sometimes. There's stuff going on constantly. And my chat understands. If you jump in my chat, like I've had things happen. Sometimes people get in back doors through other people and stuff like that. And that's not a bad thing. That's not what I mean. What happens is I have rules. Because like I had somebody in the chat one night, and you guys might remember this, and I felt bad because the lady was on vacay. They had picked some evil crap up at the bridge. They're trying to get home. It's bothering the kids. It's doing this. Okay, first of all, stop. What's happened? And then I got somebody live here in the box trying to tell me what she already told her. You see what I'm saying? Now the energy is everywhere. Yeah. And the minute you say kids, I say, stop talking about it. Only tell the investigators that I send when there's children. I am on the phone. I have the Rolodex. I call. I have somebody just about in every state, a couple different countries, And again, that's nothing to do with me. That's everybody working together. Right. So, I'm like, my guys will be there in the morning. They'll be on your couch till it's gone. That's where we're at. If you call help, don't call me unless you want it done, because it's just, that's going to happen. We don't play, and I don't waste my friends' time. I don't, you have to get past my vet. Then they have their own, you're on your own with them. If you don't pass them, I can't help you.
Right.
There's going to be questions. You know the rule. You know the
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
and
but
they
I'm just
gotta be
trying to
filled
get him to
out.
stop talking about it because I'm feeling the zing and it hears you and you are giving it energy. And the more you talk about it, I keep going, stop talking about it. My
Right.
answer isn't going to change. I gave you my answer in the beginning. It's not going to change. You're just trying to vet, and I don't blame you. However, nix that energy. I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it. It's not up in here.
No. But the thing
You know what
is,
I'm saying?
the negativity, any kind of negative spirit, and I don't say demon, that's just any kind of
Any kind of negative.
negativity
Yeah.
can feed off negativity.
Yep.
So,
Loose.
yeah, so if it knew there was talking, and they know when you're
The
talking about
good ones know, the bad ones know. I don't care.
yes,
It's not some mystical
they
thing. My grandmother
no,
said, don't speak of, there's certain things in the woods we do not speak of because they hear you. And I listened to her. There's no, until I sorted it out over time, I'm like, okay, now I get it, because you can't say it. I just had this conversation with somebody else on this show. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Steve. We were talking about the Rob Guttrow, where he's looking through books of John Wilkes Booth in Ford's Theater, watching a
oh,
Christmas play. Okay, he's getting ready to go see the play, a Christmas Carol, which
okay,
I would love. I would just love that. So anyway, Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Okay, so I just, if it was any place else, just saying.
right,
So anyway, he's there in the gift shop, thumbing through the books. He's trying to block everything because he's one of those, like, I see dead people,
yeah,
and they're all there like, hey, 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 like seagulls in Jersey Shore, and you've got fries, kind of like that, it's coming
exactly
at
like
you,
that.
and he's going, I'm here to see the play, and and he's looking and he's trying to get into the book he's reading. It's John Wilkes Booth. He goes, this arrogant male energy shows up, stands right next to me. He starts describing, and he's like, he's extremely smart, but he would tell you that he didn't know much. He knew the average, but he didn't know. He wasn't clicking. It wasn't clicking that who this was, because he's trying to shut it off. See, he doesn't want to dig into it and know who he is because he wants him to go away. He's ignoring him. And it's too much. It's too strong. It's John Wilkes Booth.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I knew
But
you were
see,
going to
I'm
say
one of those where I'm at this point now. I mean, 50 years of this, I have to find something that just, I have to go a little deeper. So
right.
you'll hear people to keep my, sanity, or to erase it completely. One of the two. So I did a deep dive on Lincoln. I mean, from Mama's Mama all the way, to the to the paranormal side of it, the whole, and all soup and nuts in between.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody kept saying the Ford's Theater is haunted. Lincoln shows up as a glow in the balcony, and Lincoln, this happened during certain parts of different plays, where you hear him going out the back door and all this other stuff. And I'm going, wait, stop the bus. That's not Lincoln. That's Booth.
Yeah.
And you can have Booth in the theater. You can have Booth across the street. You can have Booth at the tobacco barn. You can have Booth at the at the Surratt house. People have to understand that not all ghosts follow all the little box rules we make for them. All over the place, Cyn, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
that's a great thing. So do you want to go get a tea or something, or do you want to see a video? I'm telling you, this one, guys, it's Halloween, Cyn, and I go all out for my gatekeepers. I make them things. I throw treats at them. They throw them at us. We throw out recipes. So listen, guys, I got to tell you just a little bit of house stuff. We are going to do Cabin 22. I believe it's going to start on the 22nd. So the way it sits now, we will have Mr. Ron Murphy on Dogmen. Oh my God. And werewolves. Stop it. Does it get any better? We're going to do that for about an hour and a half. And then we're going to start listening to the series Cabin 22, the narration. We're going to listen live. We're going to have our bacon caramel popcorn. We're going to have our grandma, our Mrs. McGee's apple pie moonshine. We do have a virgin recipe. I'm telling you, frozen apple cider in a smoothie with this recipe. So good. It's so good. So anyway, we're going to share. We're going to try to have a different guest on for every chapter. It's going to be 6 nights in a row live. Cyn, pick a night. Come with us. Please help us co-host
Really?
the night. Please
I
do.
would love to.
It would be our honor. It'd be our honor.
Hi.
We're going to listen to this lovely, lovely Halloween story. I think I wrote some of it. The spirits wrote some of it. I'm telling you, it's true. So we're going to do that. We've got other Halloween surprises, but for your listening and viewing enjoyment, I have this little video. The first one is about this lovely lady's wonderful books. So please take a look. And also Amazon, Cyn, is that where you want everybody to go? Here we go.
Please.
This is all you, baby. So much fun.
I love it already. That would be
The artwork's in. You got to bring him on when he gets better. Give him our love.
I will.
The man who drew this isn't feeling well tonight, so let's send him good energy. He did most of your covers, didn't he?
He did. Now you're thinking about the other podcast. This is Mark Elliott Paul.
He's feeling good.
He's
Throw him some good energy anyway.
throwing some good energy.
There she is, everybody. So exciting.
For doing that.
Sweet. So there's her books. Aren't they fabulous? I love the covers. Love, 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 love the covers. I'm sure they're packed with all kinds of knowledge and we just love this kind of stuff. So we can't get enough of it, right?
I appreciate that so much.
Oh, so much fun.
So much.
Okay, guys, get ready to get your house rocked now. Here we go. Happy Halloween, gatekeepers. This is so much fun.
Once a year the full moon glooms, children dress in costumes, jack-o'-lanterns come alive and sing this ghoulish tune. Witches fly upon their brooms, spirits rise from their tombs, creatures of the night will hunt for candy to consume. Little kiddies, all beware of fearsome frights and sneaky scares, ghosts and goblins prowl about to catch you unaware. Better find a good disguise to blend in if you're wise, go from door to door and you'll
Charlie
be
Brown, baby.
surprise. Creepy, crawly, slime and goo, werewolves howl and zombies drool. Something's waiting in the dark to jump out and yell boo. Monsters roaming everywhere, tag along if you dare. You will have a night of frights and fun beyond compare. Once a year the full moon glooms, children dress in costumes, jack-o'-lanterns come alive and sing this ghoulish tune. Witches fly upon their brooms, spirits rise from their tombs, creatures of the night will hunt for candy to consume. Little kiddies, all beware of fearsome frights and sneaky scares, ghosts and goblins prowl about to catch you unaware. Better find a good disguise to blend in if you're wise, go from door to door and you'll collect a sweet surprise. Creepy, crawly, slime and goo, werewolves howl and zombies drool. Something's waiting in the dark to jump out and yell boo. Monsters roaming everywhere, tag along if you dare. You will have a night of frights and fun beyond compare. Look out, take care, ghosts and goblins prowl about to catch you unaware. Don't run, don't scream, they just want to wish you all a happy Halloween. And when they're through, they'll leave you with a final boo.
Too cute.
Awesome.
Too damn cute not to share.
Awesome.
Where's my little nostalgia.
The whole time I was thinking, Charlie Brown, I Gotta Rock.
I got it. It's famous. It's classic.
I can see you from behind. You can hear me in your mind. Run so fast Are you afraid of the dark? Are you scared?
There you go, baby. Nobody does Halloween like Cisco.
Nice job.
Thank you. Those are so much fun. I love him. Those are so much fun to make, man. I'll tell you what. It's very cool for creators. We've got so many different things we can use now, but I say a lot of things about the wonderful YouTube. Why? Because we love them. We love YouTube, but with all its like bings and bangs, the creator music, you go in there for copyright where you're not bugging anybody. These people just go in there and these composers, this beautiful like Asher Valero, that young lady there, that Navarro, all these different people, and they give you this music to use in your stuff. Of course we give them, all the homage to them and their wonderful craft, but to be able to add it to all these little gifts and things like that to create something like that, a music video basically for their music, and then for Halloween, it's great. There's a lot to choose from in there, and usually you go and you grab one song, you go, okay, I can do something with that, so you put it together and it comes out. So it's just fun. It's fun, and it raises your vibration.
It does.
Celebrating Halloween and all that. The ghost has still got the ghost. So I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. And I've got another one I want to share with you, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your books. If you could touch on each one and tell us a little bit about each one of them. And
Sure.
They're also different, but they're all related in a lot of ways.
So this one, Whispers in the Dark, was my first one. And she was talking about the artist. That's Mark Elliott Fultz. He does the covers and the illustrations in all my books. So this one is 23 short stories, mostly in Lincoln County, Tennessee. There are 5 that are out of the county, and it's things, ghost stories, obviously, and then just some eerie things that have happened along the way. From my favorite bedtime story is the very first one in here. I liked to be scared when I was a little girl. So it's in here. And my grandmother always ended it with, "Boo, now go to bed."
We were tortured into the paranormal. Same thing. I mean, well, I had sisters. I was the youngest of I don't know how many living in the house at one time, 7 maybe. In a haunted farmhouse in the middle of Jackson, right smack dab in the middle of the Revolutionary War field. So you can imagine. and almost 200-year-old farmhouse at the time. And that's where I had my first head flung at me. I was a little girl. I'm sitting on the bed, Cyn, and I hear this crackle, crackle, crackle. I have no clue. Paranormal what? I'm a toddler, for Pete's sakes. But I remember it was so profound, and people think, you can't. Yes, believe me, I meet people in the paranormal all the time. I remember standing in their crib talking to grandma or the lady from the closet. Trust me, it's there. So I hear the crackle, crackle, crackle. Then I sit up thinking it's one of my sisters messing around. I remember having the thought of, they're going to get in trouble for being in mom's closet, taking her clothes. With all these teenage girls, that was always going on, so it was in my head. And I sit up and I see the light from inside the closet pushing through the old farmhouse shutter doors with the slats. Okay. So they look huge to me. Of course, as a kid, everything's bigger. I'm sitting in the biggest bed. My dad was almost 7 foot tall. So this was like the biggest bed you could get in the 70s, late 60s. And I'm sitting there, chenille bedspread. I still remember it. And so I'm looking at these slats and all the lights pushing through and getting bigger, bigger, coming at me, growing, coming out of now more of the closet, getting real big in front of me, and the form in the middle. And it forms something solid, and it's a head, just a head.
Oh, wow.
Manifested. Nothing gory or ugly, just stopped. Just, you know what I mean? It wasn't like flinging all kinds of, nerves and stuff across. It's a whole different picture. But, I have to say that because it just stopped. It was like, that's as far as he manifested. It wasn't that he had lost his head and here it comes,
No, he just knew that was all you could handle at that time.
Or all he could.
Or all maybe, he could.
You see, and again, like Cyn just said, it's both of you having this experience. Both what you're going through has something to do with it. Everybody forgets that. Your vantage point, his vantage point, what's going on, your energy, his energy, what are you doing, what's he doing,
That's right.
It's all inclusive. So he's coming at me, and he's extremely, and I lean toward that theory because he was so angry. The energy is emitting through his eyes, which are causing them to look red. That's my theory at this time. At the time when I saw it, red eyes, and he as he's coming towards me, he's getting bigger. Okay. The whole thing is, and it happened so fast. And I just fell backwards, and it goes over me into the wall, disappears. But as it's doing that, he's got a ponytail, and it's flying behind him. And it's tied with this red ribbon. And as a kid, all I could think of was the red ribbon matched his eyes, red ribbon. And that's what I'm saying. When my mom and sisters burst into the door from my, primal screaming.
Wow.
That's coming from after I saw this head just melt into my mom's fine Baroque black velvet and gold lame wallpaper. I swear to you this happened.
Nice.
It was the 70s. I must say again.
Oh, I remember.
But it was a big deal when you had the velvety kind that you could go up as a kid and rub on it.
Yes.
And then it had the foil stripe. Oh, come on now. And it was like paisley, or it was these fleur-de-lis. Well, hers was fleur-de-lis. And now I know it was called the mask, which I love, by the way. What sickened me as a child, I now find myself drawn to as an old lady. I swear to God, I love a good damask, the black and white, But as a kid, I'm like, oh my gosh, And my mom, wallpaper used to be a big deal.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. And I think it is in some of the old museum kind of things now, like when they're, our friend Eric, she knows Eric, guys, from Unseen Paranormal, right? So he does this tour, and you may know the house we're talking about. And not only did it go back period, but they would like copy the furniture and the patterns and the pattern of the wallpaper. And he showed me these pictures when he was on one time with me. And I'm like, why am I getting something about this wallpaper? What is it about? It's like the wallpaper wanted me to notice it. And all the things in this picture, I keep getting it. And I had to stop him. I'm like, what? And he goes, there's a story with the wallpaper. And he knows it because he's Eric.
Right.
So
right.
He's, you know what I mean? God bless him. He's just this knowledge. It's just, it's in there. So he's telling the story about the wallpaper, and it's this big story about how it's from the printer who made the original. It's not it's kind of a copy, but better than a copy kind of thing. It's a deep dive on this. It's beautiful wallpaper, yellow stripe with the gold lame. It's beautiful. You have to ask him to show it to you.
I
See if
love
you
it.
get anything on the wallpaper.
Was he talking about Red Boiling Springs, the Thomas house?
It was a house. It was a big one.
I bet
It was
what
in
it was.
Tennessee. That's what I got. Because
I
it was
bet.
so many. He showed so many. And I think it was it wasn't the one he got the thing in the mirror and sitting in the chair. It wasn't that one. It was one when you walk into the foyer. You walk into that front door, and it's a Southern welcome walk-in front door. It's got it going on, and you walk in, and that wallpaper is just there. It's yellow stripe. It's profound, and it's gorgeous, and the furniture, everything just matches. And look, that's not my style. It just works for this place, but I can't imagine living with it because it would just make me so tired.
Right.
So much color. It's just too much, but it works here. And there's to the left is this grand staircase, but everything is this white, bright, welcome. Hi, you're in the South, kind of. In a good way,
Right.
Because everything is just so warm, and lemonade and magnolias and what, bless your heart, it's just all that. But it's the best it could possibly be. It's like everything is like warm apple pie until you get to the mudding part of it, and it's everybody's going mud, and we're going, boys don't play. I mean, it's
must be
so much fun.
One of the ones in Gallatin or around Franklin or something. So I'm not sure which one that one is.
My God, it's so gorgeous. So listen, guys, I'm going to tell you this. I couldn't wait for Cyn. Now, we've got about 30 minutes left. I wanted to bring in a quick ghost story and ask your opinion on it. What we do here a lot of times is we'll watch, I don't know, like ghostly encounters or one of these shows that they don't embellish on it. They just tell the story.
Uh-huh.
And the kind, and a lot of these shows come out of Canada where they sit there. It's wild how they do it. Good job they do. And they change the names, and you'll see them all interwoven, but that doesn't take away from the fact that these witnesses come, they sit down. If you've ever been on that side of it, you know how cheesy it can be. And you go, and there's all these lights and cameras in your face, and there's a producer sitting across the room with a chair and a clipboard, and is asking you, well, how did it feel? Tell us about it. What day was it? And they're just telling it. And I think those are the best ones. I think we learn the most from those. So would you be willing to watch one with us?
Absolutely.
And then give your opinion on what your take of it is?
Sure.
I think Steve and I watched this one. Now, this one is a little kind of next level as far as it's not your regular kind of thing where somebody's got like what people could blow away as sleep paralysis or Hag syndrome or any of these. And again, that's not an orb, that's a bug, which could very well be a bug. But don't be so quick to dismiss it as something like and I'm talking to everybody listening right now, as far as this goes deeper, much deeper. And I want you to consider the person it's coming from, because it's an old I don't know what his culture is. I don't want to mislabel him there. I don't mean to do that. But what I mean to emphasize on is this man's not only the decade he's living in and what he grew up in. It's a different world. It's respect. It's, I'm not going to lie. To owe you $1, you're getting paid first. Word is his bond. Wouldn't make up something and tell it and then get ribbed from the guys down at the, where he goes to have that one beer on a Friday night after punching a clock. That kind of guy, mm-hmm. I take that all into consideration. Maybe you'll feel the same when you see this man. And to me, this one was so profound because, again, take religion out of it. It's right tool for the job. If you think about that, like that in paranormal, you won't throw away a tool you might need,
Mm-hmm.
and you won't discount the importance of every damn tool in the box.
Absolutely.
What do you think about that? Cyn,
That's
anything to add there? I
yes.
mean,
I mean, you
sight
can't.
unseen, what I just said, that makes sense, right?
Absolutely, it makes sense because you never know going into a spot if it's native, if it's uh, uh, even Nazi. Somebody, there's
Oh,
you
God.
never know going
Yes.
in what's happened unless
And what
there
you're
is a
dealing with.
history that people do know. Yeah, what you
And what
hear.
you're dealing with.
From
I've got two really kick butt ones here. And I went over, I must have 100 of these. And I was like, which ones do I want to present to her? And, to get your take on them, because, why these out of the 100? Well, they're both that. They're both that. It's like, if you're an investigator, and that's like kind of one of my side things here is try to help investigators, because I'm like no expert. But the thing is you're going to get so much more out of this if you consider the whole band. That includes your mediums and your psychics and your sensitives and your all of it, your granny witches. Just bring it all, you know. Because I see so many young kids. It's like I can't, do the mock prayer because, they told me that angels are only for Catholics who get their meat best on Friday nights, and this bullshit. Angels are for everybody. Energy is for everybody. Right tool for the job. You don't fix a Mercedes with an egg beater,
no,
you know. And here's another thing, and I bet you Cyn will back me up on this and just validate. You better believe it, because if you don't believe it and you're up against one of these buggers, I'm telling you what, these buggers can be mean. This is some serious stuff here. And if you're going to be a light worker, you got to tiptoe in the dark every now and then. It's going to come, it's going to happen. Know thy enemy, right? So you have to be able to discern and not jump to conclusions. And I think that Cyn said it in the beginning when she's talking about these shows that want to sensationalize. Listen, we're not saying that the stuff doesn't exist. We're saying you have to discern. And too many people would look at a case like this or hear the story told and not consider all the things I said: the man's culture, the man's age, his decade, what century is he in? Is he married? What is he a father? Does he have kids? Does he work at the factory?
mm-hmm.
Where he's gonna, so many of these abduction cases and things like Bigfoot sightings. Do you think he's gonna go down there and open up his locker to take out his Stanley thermos and the same damn lunchbox he's had for 20 years and hear it from the guys going, "Hey, were you probed, Harry?" No,
Mm-hmm.
they're not gonna stick their neck out unless it was true.
No.
That's how I'm feeling with this one. And it could be taken wrong and jump to conclusions in so many different ways by discounting things and throwing out these good tools. And I'm telling you, some of these tools are powerful, friends. Don't throw them out. You need every single one of them. Isn't it fun, Cyn? I told you we were going to have fun.
I am. I'm having a great time. I appreciate you.
We have a good time over here.
Sometimes you think, I don't know, it's possible it was a dream, even though I thought it wasn't a dream. Or maybe some form of temporary psychosis. But when you see something like that, when it leaves some physical evidence that you have there, how can I deny that?
Right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, you believe him. He's not going to lie to you.
No.
He doesn't want to be there.
No, he does
feels
not.
like he's saying it for whatever reason, might help somebody, that kind of thing, or just tell me what the hell happened.
Mm-hmm.
You see where I'm coming from? So
yes.
Now, if anybody has to get up, get something to drink or whatever, now's the time. You can listen. Go about just hurry up and get back here because this is a good story. Okay, here we go. I'll be right back.
Fight
I'm here.
or flight. Maybe it depends on the danger. Maybe it depends on the person. But I think most of us would fight tenaciously if our lives or our families' lives were threatened. But what if the danger was coming from a ghost? That would make the fight a little more complicated. How could we possibly defend ourselves against the paranormal? Hi, I'm Lawrence Chow. Today in Ghostly Encounters, we'll meet a man and a woman who both tell of being attacked by demons and ghosts. Both fought back instead of giving in to fear. And for Victor Trantos, the choice to fight was a no-brainer because he believed the demon was about to kill him.
I remember lying on the bed sleeping with my partner. I look at the clock, I went back, I drift back to sleep, and I started dreaming that I was lying in bed right where I was. And the darkness somehow stirred and changed form in the room. The room was about half dark, so you could still see a lot of things, the furniture, what was in the room. And all of a sudden, there was this creature sitting on me on my chest. It had a round, ugly head. He was slightly hunched. What I remember was his eyes. He had very, very powerful yellow eyes. And immediately I felt a pressure and a coldness and numbness starting from toes of my feet, and it kept coming up. It kept coming like really quickly into the rest of my body. As my toes were freezing and this cold kept going up my body, it felt like a deep cold, almost like a liquid cold. From whatever that cold was touching, I felt like the life was coming out of it. So I thought by the time it reaches my head, I'll die. As I was looking at that creature, as it was sitting on me, I would look inside the body. It's a very strange feeling. There's no word to exactly describe. And I saw like it was like a blackness, a really, really dark blackness that was drawing me in. It looked like a night, as you look at the night sky, but without stars. I had the feeling that he actually either wanted to kill me or get inside me. It looked like a spirit that you see in pictures, in old books, in old drawings. It looks like something that really came out of hell. There's no other way to describe it.
That right there gets you with the
I was
pictures.
trying to wake my partner so she could see that thing, and I couldn't speak. I couldn't master any sound. I didn't have enough strength to squeeze her, to wake her. I wasn't able to because I was paralyzed. Only my eyes would move. He was so strong, like he seemed to have immense strength. I felt like a mountain was sitting on me. His power was incredible. I didn't have a chance to survive it. I thought I didn't like this dream, so I wanted to just get out of it. So what I did, I woke myself up. And that creature was still on me, even though I passed from a state of being asleep into the waking state. I got really terrified because I didn't know you can only wake up once. You can wake again to get out of this. And what I did, the first thing that came to my mind is to start praying. When I was back home in Sunday school, we had a picture of Jesus on the wall. And I remember it was Jesus on the donkey on his way to Jerusalem. And that's the picture that came into my mind. As soon as I brought that picture into my mind, that creature backed off in horror. Then it grabbed me again. I pray to Jesus. I say, Jesus, just save me. I say that in my mind.
Like that. Want to stop it there real quick. This combination, I had seen this exact story when it first came out years ago. I can't remember exactly what. This combined in my mind with so many stories that I've heard from especially kids that have some type of a foundation of faith, very much like in the Stephen King novel It. You see that with kids. You see it with the young boy, I forget his name, the one that was convinced he was sick, but he wasn't sick. His mom just wanted control, and he had an atomizer that had nothing in it. It was a placebo. And he had just become so dependent upon it. but he had convinced himself that for some reason it had power, if he believed it did, and it was used against the monster, and it went back. That was to show this belief, the strength and the belief in the thing, as silly as it may sound to others, okay, to things that really have power just by evoking a thought. What did you think when you saw this so far? And the reason I bring this up to somebody like Cyn, and without you guys too, is if you're out there and you have a client, or you have a house, you have a story that's similar to this, so many people have programmed us to just think old hag syndrome, sleep paralysis, yada yada. They have to be considered, but when you get deep into it, Cyn.
Yeah, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be anything we've ever heard of, even. I mean, it could be alien. It could be
Yep.
Yeah, and yes, there is psychological things that can happen that can make you feel like that. So you've got to discount everything and try to
sort it.
figure out. Yeah, try to figure
Mental
out.
illness, prescription drugs, fight what's going on in the family, what's going on, is it somebody getting ready to have a divorce? Is it constant fighting? Is there abuse in the household? Is it this or this? Because the sad part is a lot of people that are abused draw stuff like this.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because it's like, how's that fair? First, the
Yeah.
person's going through this, and then has nothing to do with fair or whatever, has to do with energy. And the person that's going through it, their vulnerability, and it's like immune system with bacteria. If your immune system is up, bacteria is just going to bounce off you like nobody's business. But if your immune system is down, you're going to get sick.
Well, and it's like if one thing happens, it snowballs. And if you are stressed out and one thing hits you, then something else hits you from another side, then something else, and you get hit and bombarded, and you're just like, what the hell is going on? I can't even function. I can't even think anymore. And so you get worked down, you get knocked down, and can't get back up sometimes. So you got to figure out what's going on. And I tell you, when he was talking, I felt it in my gut. I didn't like that one bit.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, I'm not showing this to scare anybody. I'm saying, we talked a couple weeks ago about a young boy, and so many good things in the chat were coming up. A young boy is in his bed, and something wakes him up. Here's his dresser open up. The drawers on the dresser slide, the wood, you know what I'm saying, the sound.
Yeah.
And it just opens up. First of all, well, that's enough. The drawer just opened up. Then all of a sudden, this skeleton, now it had light around it, but it was a skeleton that could move. Okay. It sits up, looks at him, and then throws a Lego. I'm like, what?
It's climbing out
of the dresser. And it escalated. I believe the first night it was just a skeleton. It could have been, maybe I could be wrong, because it happened more than once, and it would usually happen with the skeleton, and the skeleton would get out of the dresser and would look at him, and sometimes get out and stand at the foot of his bed and then leave and disappear into the closet. And then sometimes this thing would come out of the closet that looked like a Grim Reaper type dude. No face, just the hood. And I can't remember whether it had a sigh or not. I don't know, or sickle or whatever. But anyway, the thing is a lot of the people in the chat seem to think that it was, and I hadn't considered this, playing on what scared him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what he would get his attention. I don't know. Was he reading, Treasure Island, or was he, the influence, using his fears in his mind against him, which is extra scary, because now you're dealing with an entity that can do that.
Well, and a lot of them can. That paranormal email story I was telling you.
Yes.
I found out later, because I was so freaked out about that, that I contacted Mark, my friend, the medium, and said, look, I don't know what just happened, but those spirits came through an email that I got the night before, and they knew about the fight my husband and I had, and they were telling me how they could fix it for me and
Right.
what the hell happened. And he said, calm down. It's a parlor trick. Spirits can read your aura. If you have not cleansed, if you've
Yep.
not meditated, if you've not cleared your aura, if you've not cleared your mind before any kind of spirit work, and it doesn't matter if you're just asking questions. I knew before I went on an investigation, I needed to do that, whether it was throwing a pinch of salt in my shower and taking that shower and white lighting myself and saying a
Yep.
prayer before and after. But I didn't know to do that before an EVP session where I was going over my EVPs. I didn't know that.
Everything.
And so now,
Everything.
whenever I'm working with my audio, I make sure I'm clear because I don't want that happening again.
Before and after. And it's funny because I kid with the chat all the time. Say I'm always throwing Florida water on the screen and, I've got the sage and I've got, so many wonderful people have given me their bits and pieces that, work for them that, and gathered. I take it all. All wisdom is not found in one place, people. I mean, again, take it all. You never know
Yes.
what tool you're going to use. That's part of my luggage I carry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just knowledge, acquired knowledge, right or wrong. This is what I have so far, but looking at things like this and taking that, trying to back up and get that, that from the high ground, whatever, not so much a high ground, but the 40,000 foot view is what I mean. Trying to get that big picture and going, okay, why this guy then? What was he going through? What was the little boy going through? The young boy grew up, he was a dancer and flipped it and turned it like a little shaman, took that darkness and you ain't going to scare me. You're not going to stop me from doing it. I'm going to do my thing and you're not allowed here and you're not, and just stood up, believed it. See? And this man believed it, luckily he believed in something that was strong enough that all he needed to do is think of it. And the very thought of it, 1,000 stories like this and young children in my own family that have done this and just sat up and just said, bam, and done.
Yeah.
And done. That I've seen the same type of entity messing with a whole group of adults that just can't seem to get a handle on it.
Right.
You know what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying. But this is just interesting. It's almost done. And I won't keep you much later, but this is just such fun doing this with you because, and if you want to come back and we'll do it again and take a different subject each time and look at it, in the future, would you just love to do it? Just love to do it and then have the chat, what the stuff that they're saying too about it. But I think it's important because people and I know people, we all know people. My friends like Bill Bean and a lot of these others of that ilk, he hates to say he's a demonologist or an exorcist or anything like that, but let's just put it this way. He's very busy right now. All my friends are very busy right now. We're going through a lot. And people tend to forget when you get into the really, really dark. And again, cleanse, do your thing, do your stuff. But that's why we play all this happy music in the beginning. And why we play happy music on the way out and everybody sends love to each other and we close the circle down. And, people wonder, why do you have intros so long? Because everybody's shedding their day, their week.
Right.
It's Sunday. We got Monday coming up and we're getting ready. We're shedding that stuff the old week. We're getting together and saying how much perfect strangers, saying how much they care about each other. And how's your dog again? How's that back problem? Are you okay? Meaning it, sending love out around the world. And trying to sort this. You couldn't get better. Couldn't get better. But that's why we do it. You open the circle, you fill it with high vibrational, cute animals and music and fun stuff. And then you talk about some dark stuff, fun stuff on the way out, love everybody on the way out. And that's how you deal with it. And that's exactly what Cyn's talking about. Right?
Absolutely.
All right. We're almost done. Let's see what this poor gentleman had to go through here. Wait till you see what's coming. It's amazing. I'm going to grab some hot water. I'll be right back.
The second time, you just let go and It floated away. There was no wings, no flapping, no sound. It just moved and it disappeared from the room where the ceiling meets the wall. It just left the room. So the only thing that saved me was that prayer. And at the same time, I felt something different. I was able to move, and I felt a presence right next to me, a very warm presence, something like an angel or someone who really cares for you. I don't know what it was because I couldn't see anything. I just had the feeling it was right there next to me. So I tried to touch that, whatever it was that was there, but I couldn't see it or touch it. I just knew it was there. As I got up, I was really shaken. I decided I have to get up and go and brush my teeth and get ready to go to work. So as soon as I stepped in the bathroom, I looked in the mirror and I saw the cross that I was always wearing. It was gone. The chain was still around my neck, but the cross was gone. I went back to the bed and I found the cross fell between my body and my partner's. I picked up the cross, and then I noticed the link that links the cross and the chain was intact. The link wasn't open, and yet somehow the cross came off the chain. I started sobbing. So she woke up and asked me, what's the matter with me? What's wrong? So I told her the whole story. And I just didn't know what to think. But she noticed that the cross also, the link was closed. And I believe this is the strongest piece of evidence that this thing happened, this thing was real. Somehow that creature caused that cross to fall off the chain. Obviously it could tolerate the cross, but it couldn't tolerate the fact that I was thinking of Jesus. And it left. I believe it's some kind of a spirit, a malevolent spirit, which is called an incubus. If it's male, if it's a female, it's called a succubus. And people usually have sexual experiences with those spirits. In my case, it was nothing sexual. I had the feeling that he just wanted to kill me. And if it wasn't for me praying at the right time, I think I wouldn't be sitting here right now. It affected my religious belief because I had my own beliefs. I did believe in God and I believe in Jesus too, but I wasn't giving it much thought because I always had doubts about it. You have to rethink everything. And you see a totally new angle of things in life. It actually changes you as a person because you're thinking you want to be a good person, because if this thing is real, if this demon is real, like what else is real? Does that mean that everything is real? Does that mean angels are real? Is God real? What if we die and we go to hell? So is there a heaven? Like, it makes you, all these questions go through your mind after when you see an apparition like this. And the whole incident, I can tell you, in some ways it has changed my life.
Across cultures, almost
Lawrence
every faith
Chow.
and religious tradition involves beliefs about demons of some sort. And it doesn't seem to matter how religious or how unreligious we are. When we believe we are confronting supernatural forces, we generally fall back on the religion of our childhood. And so it's not surprising that Victor went straight to Jesus and Christianity when he needed to defend himself. But Victor's silver cross should not be looked at as just a symbol of Jesus. It's also an example of a talisman, a physical object imbued with protective, magical energy. In Victor's very frightening case, that energy matched the intensity of his experience, an intensity that changed Victor's attitudes about heaven, hell, and the existence of God.
How about that? One experience, man. You know, I mean, and that is from season 1. You can see that whole episode on YouTube. It's everywhere. So there's a couple of different stories that have similar things that happen in them. But this is adorable. Look. There it goes. And see, that laughter right there, that's all it takes. Right, Cyn?
Raises the vibration. Raises the
it's-
vibration.
It's incredible how simple and, you know, and how deep it can go too. you know, and you could see why I picked that one, as far as let's, not jump to conclusions, maybe give it the, what we call like the 48-hour rule or whatever. Wait, take in everything, like you said. And I think it also very well explains why really good groups have these questions. You have to questionnaires, what's going on in the house, like we said, is there any mental illness? Is there pharmaceuticals? Or is there a divorce? Did someone pass? Is someone having any problems, abuse, whatever? All of these things, because it sincerely can be you. It could be, we know people with abilities that have tried to hold them back, for even subconsciously, and it's going to manifest somehow,
Right.
But this man, I believe him. And that's why I pick these. I love the way they do the show. They're not really embellishing a lot on, like some of them you'll see, they're brushing their teeth in the mirror, Cyn. And they said, I had a feeling that somebody was watching me. And there's this big demon with horns
Right.
blowing down. She never said nothing about that. It's just, and that's the difference. That's the difference, between telling a good story, telling it like it happened, because you're not going to learn from it if they add a bunch of crap to it. You're not going to. The things he said that you can pull from that story, how he spoke it, and the way he just thought something and it happened. That story has stuck with me because it matches, like I said, so many others. Young children standing up, to things in their homes, so simply, other people, this is my house. How they say a lot of times this works, not to confront or challenge or anything like that. There's the fine line, folks. But, all of these things combined, it seems to be the belief and an understanding. And the next time you come on, I'm going to have a story for you that absolutely blew our minds. And when you see it, everybody that would see the first 5 minutes, I swear, it's like being, if you were in a jury at a murder trial, the guy's getting it. And that one piece of evidence
Wow.
comes out and switch everything 180.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? It's that kind of a
Yeah.
ghost story where, and it's an amazing, the character, the living characters involved in it, from their vantage point, what they went through and how they wound up at the end of it is like unexpected. How other people look at the experience, I think, is a big difference. It is, makes a big difference, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like this man seemed to get something out of it. The young man who had skeletons come out of his dresser, you're not stopping me. I'm going to do this. He used that. He said he turned that fear into doing different dance moves and becoming a better dancer and being a better artist. And I think in life, some of these things do this for us too. We got to imagine as the living walking around, and we say at school, we confronted that mean, guy that works to drive through at the Starbucks or whatever. Or we,
Yeah.
Told the boss no, or handled that busybody, down the street or whatever. We stood up for little things and little problems that come at us. They change you, they mold you. And I don't think that stops when we're dead.
I don't think so either. I think it carries over. I think, as our friend Eric says, if you're an asshole in life, most likely you're going to be an asshole.
An asshole in death, an asshole in death, right? Absolutely. Yep. And that's just the way it is. And I do think it changes, though. There's somebody else has got this wheel, folks. Let's just face it. Whether it's our combined consciousness or what. I hope somebody's smart, because look, I've met some people. It's like, I hope they're not, whatever, in charge, even as a consciousness, even as a part of it. But I guess you'd have to include everything. It's all balanced, right? Dark, light, balance, gray. It is. So I guess what we could take away from tonight is trying to look at things differently, because I think if we can look at this differently and step back and take away all of that, is it real? Is it not? Or whatever. Look, at this point, it's been vetted. It doesn't matter if one of them is true. If one picture is true, if one alien abduction is true, if one ghost sighting is true, if one Bigfoot sighting is true, something's going on. Let's
Something is
move past
definitely
it.
going on. Yeah.
Because even if you look at it collectively, the evidence we have right now today, and go back 10 years, go back 50 years, it hasn't changed much. You know what I mean? We don't have any more profound message from the other side. It's like, look, love is eternal. What you do here matters. You judge yourself. Try to do the right thing. Now that you know this, you're going to be judged. You knew, now you're making a different kind of choice. I mean, it's just simple little things. And I think that once you get over there, there's a pattern, a thing. I think you get help. I think there's a soul healing. I think you have to go through, and there's comeuppance, like, oh gee, I shouldn't have done that. I didn't realize that I caused this and this. Oh, I could have done that better. And I think that's how we talk ourselves, is to come back. Let me do it again. Let me come back and do it again. After I'm ready. I can go back. I can do this better. You know what? Give me a club foot. just to make it harder, because for that extra 5 extra points or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm making it. But listen, nothing convinced me that it's any more difficult than that, because it seems as natural as the paranormal. It's normal, and the supernatural is natural. And I think at this point we're really learning some good lessons, and also lessons as being paranormal investigators, or trying to discern what's going on in your own house, or is that a sign from whatever? Do you think it's a sign? Did you feel warm and cozy when you thought about it? Then why are you talking yourself out of it?
Exactly.
Or talking yourself into something. I'm working on a case now, trying to do it hands off, but God love him, because it's not my place at this moment. I'm feeling. Anyway, here's the information, but they going around and around and around. No, I answered your question here. I told you what you had to do here, and you could talk to me for 5 hours. And let's go over the whole emotional roller coaster for you again, and give it power and energy, which is going to make your fight that much harder. But this is where you're going to wind up with the first thing I said. We're still going back here. So you can take the long way home, or you can just start here. And that's what a lot of my paranormal things are. Or it's, I don't have a clue, but I got a guy. That's where I'm at now. But people, look, if you're a medium and you sit down, you give this great, he says, stop worrying about it. It doesn't matter anymore. It'll sort itself. The universe has got it. I don't want you wasting your life doing this. I want you to be happy. I want you to dance, go out on the dates, whatever. It's always that kind of message, right, Cyn?
Exactly.
And I don't want you to waste your time worrying about this anymore. I'm fine, Mom, or I'm fine, ex-wife or girlfriend or husband or whatever. And it's these kind of messages. It's not the secrets of the universe. It's the secret of our lives, that love is eternal. What we think matters, what we do matters, what our choices are matters. Be kind, be excellent to each other, be good humans, the best you could be. And
because we're all connected. Every one of us are connected.
And these things can read your mind, so you ain't fooling nobody. When you go in there and you think you're going to be slick, and you're playing, you got your harmonica and you're going to play Dixie, behind Union lines, and you go get your face smacked by a ghost.
Yeah.
And
Mark gets phone calls. Mark gets phone calls from different places he's about to go to. Nobody's there,
right.
But his phone will ring and he'll say hello. And it's just this, he might hear some kind of, that kind of, moan kind of thing. And it's just the spirits telling him they know he's coming. They're ready to talk to him.
They're ready to talk to him. They're already making that connection, and they're going, wait, we can get a hold, because I want to be first in line, or I'm trying to get my energy in there now. Listen, from the keyboard messages, via emails and text messages now, phone calls from the dead, these kind of things. One of the craziest Twilight Zones, I did an episode around phone calls from the dead, and one of the famous Twilight Zones It's the old lady in the bed, and the phone's right, the storm, and the wires laying on the grave of the husband, and he's calling.
Yes. You just gave me chills again. I remember that one.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. And the maid, well, there's nobody there, Mrs. So you have the psychological torment of this old lady who's, first of all, what is she doing leaving her at night? What is that putting her in the bed? And then she gets the car and she leaves out in the middle of rural nowhere.
Right.
And here's this old lady that can't get in and out of the bed herself and just leaves her in the bed alone next to this phone that won't quit ringing and nobody's there. He's breathing or he's doing, and then she's, who is this? Who's there? And it's listen, old folks are scared to death of phone calls that come out after it gets dark. I don't know what it is, but I can remember every old person in my life as a kid. That phone call at night was scary.
Well, and I think if you
know what I mean?
if you have kids and they are driving and that kind of thing.
For sure.
And see, I didn't have that. Wyatt was the closest I had. But he didn't call me. He called his mother.
Right.
So, yeah. But I know.
Oh, yeah. I can attest to that. That 1 o'clock in the morning. That's a whole different kind of scary.
Oh, yeah.
This was more like superstition type things. Like my grandmother you couldn't talk on the phone if it was thunder and lightning. And she had a different reason other than you could get struck by lightning. Daniel Brinkley can attest to that more than once. And, multiple other people who got struck through a landline, lightning. I saw lightning once. Now, it was weird. It was in a house that had, so if you had 2 rooms separated by a wall and they both had an outside door and the screen doors were open, wooden door was open and the screen door was closed, but a screen.
Okay.
Metal. And the lightning came in and followed the draft. Went through, made the turn, made a big old U-turn, came in one door and went out the other and scorched the floor the whole way in. I've never seen anything like it. It was so fast you couldn't even go, and it was done. Oh, it was crazy. Burnt the screen, the metal on the bottom of the door, came in that door, followed and just went right past. And the lady that was in the kitchen, it wasn't my house, I was just visiting. The lady in the kitchen was just turning from the kitchen sink with a pot of sweet tea, I swear to God, in a big old glass pitcher, and turned from the sink with this and just as it went by and scorched her floor.
Oh, but everybody was okay?
Everybody's fine. It didn't jump. And here we are sitting in one of those 1950s aluminum kitchen tables that had the aluminum edge and aluminum seat, and it had that little paisley print and the flamenco on the top. That's what we were sitting at. Nothing but metal in the metal chairs, and it went right on by us.
Wow!
Took that turn like a Porsche on the New Jersey Turnpike. I mean, it was, and it was gone, and out the other door and gone. Never seen anything like it. So, I mean, the things that I've seen in nature, I mean, it's nothing compared to other people, but the weird stuff, and you wonder, why did I see that? Why me? Am I supposed to learn from, something from that? And you don't think about it. And I guess in the great scheme of life, it's like we're all in the, the landscape and don't know not to stand under the damn tree during a lightning storm. But our grandparents, man, they knew not to put shoes on the table or on your bed. Don't turn that hat upside down. Don't play cards on after dark because the devil will get you. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that was somebody married to a gambler is what started that rumor. I guess. I don't know. Don't gamble. I don't know.
I'm waiting on the persimmon. The persimmon forecast for winter. They're coming up.
I don't know anything about that. Is it anything like the groundhog sees a shadow?
Yeah, well,
kind of, sort of.
You pick up a persimmon, cut it in half, and if you see a spoon, it's going to be a cold, cold winter, and you're going to want nothing but soup.
Okay.
If it's a fork, it's going to be relatively a nice winter, from what I understand.
Oh, it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
they should have made that the other way around. They could have made your forked. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a bad winter. Your fork, pack it in, chop your wood, just get the flannel out. You ain't going nowhere.
But it's not. If it's
No,
a
see,
spoon,
you
you're
got to
going to
think these
be
things through. It's like the caterpillars,
yeah,
It's like the corn. If the corn is so high, and you could just yeah, that's amazing. But there's truth in every single dang one of them. So
some form of it. Yes.
yeah, or it came from some kind of truth. Because I've always thought, well, that's just to keep kids from putting their shoes on the table because it's nasty, or whatever. Things that they make up, very much like the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Whatever boogeyman your town had or your century had, or I mean, all of that, a lot of that they made up just to keep their kids in line.
Yeah.
Don't get crazy. The such and such will get you.
That's
I mean,
right.
M. Night Shyamalan I don't know how many movies with that
Oh,
aspect
he's
behind it.
fantastic.
The Village for sure was that. That
Yeah.
was all propaganda. That was all the narrative. That was the old folks that wanted to keep everybody in the fence and made up this whole thing about the monsters will get you if you leave get into the woods past the fortress fence there. I mean, that was crazy.
He's
I showed
fabulous.
the mind control. When they look up and see that plane, it's like, what is that about? And you
Yeah.
realize, because
Right.
it's also a mind screw, I think, for the people watching it,
Oh,
because
yeah.
the whole time you're watching it, you're thinking that you're talking about a village from back in the day.
Exactly.
And you realize, no,
Years and
it's
decades.
there's a
Yes.
lot of those mind U-turns in M. Night Shyamalan stuff. I
I
think
love
one of
him.
the best one was, of course, gosh, now there it went. I See Dead People.
Sixth
Sense.
Sense.
For those who
The
haven't
ending.
seen it, I'm sorry, cover your
Mhm.
ears. The ending. But that's it, Cyn. That's the way it is for
Yeah.
us when you're looking at things like this. Because how many kids do you know in your life, or have heard through cases or people,
That have seen
more than
something.
more
Yeah.
than children like this? This one we did, I'll tell you this real quick because I keep telling you I'm not going to keep it. I can't shut up. I'm teaching a jewelry class because I'm a wire sculptor. Okay. So I'm at AC Moore and I'm teaching a class. I meet a lot of people. They come and they learn. I teach. Okay. So this one chick shows up. She's there for the first one, and then it's in a stagger, and it gets harder as you go. Okay, more advanced. So she's skipping around because she's had a little, and she's really cool because she goes back and wants to take 2 or 3 to catch up to get to the next thing. She's just a nice lady, but she's coming with a lot of space in between, which again is fine, but I don't see her much,
Right.
So she comes in and she, you learn a little bit about people when you're there for an hour, twist and wire. So she shows up early one day and she goes, I got to talk to you. And I love these conversations because they're always interesting. So anyhow, shoot for it. So this is what happened. She knows a girl. She's about 24. She's got that. I See Dead People, just like the kid in the movie, just like it. Poof, there you are, in the back of your seat, at your job, at the bus stop, wherever she sees them. They're there. She's learned through things probably you shouldn't do, pills, self-medicating, trying to knock yourself out to sleep, coffee to stay awake, the whole roller coaster.
Mhm.
Now she's got a kid's about 3 or 4, showing signs. Same
Wow.
thing. Now she wants to do something about it because she's not quite sure what she's doing to hold it at bay. She doesn't know how to explain it to him.
Yeah.
See, she's going through
Yeah.
all this. So she's seeking help. So this young lady is telling me this story about somebody I don't know. It's a friend of hers. She is, let's see, her face base is probably very much, she's majoring in Wicca with a side of kind of Native American paganish, little Christianity. Okay. Which
Okay.
again is a good mix. So she's, and very in the light. We're all in the light. We're just what's good, the
Mhm.
good stuff.
Mhm.
Okay. She's doing this. She's learning how to she's up to the manipulating energy part where you can actually, her person she's learning from, when she writes, especially with her left hand, when she writes, you can see the spell in the air.
Oh, wow.
Okay. This is who's teaching her, but a lovely woman. So she's using everything for,
For the
okay,
good.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the good.
And for the good. And again, I say that because labels.
Yeah.
So, so that's where she's at. And she says, well, we're trying to help her and teach her how to control things so she can teach the little one. I said, okay. And I'm at this point, I'm smiling and I'm kind of got this knowledge because I'm already way ahead of her. I know what's happened, but I have to let her tell, because you got to let them get it out once, it's the ones that just keep, I have to tell, especially in an active case. So she's telling me this. And I said, okay. She goes, why are you smiling? She goes, do you know what I'm talking about? She goes, you already know what to do, right? She goes, I knew I came to the right place. And she's just, and I'm like, yes, I got you. I said, I can tell you what happened. I said, tell me what you did is you got everybody together trying to teach her, but they're not communicators. If you get my drift, they don't know how to deal with what's around this girl. And she's bringing them with. Okay. Now it's like you've just opened a grand opening at a used car lot and turned on all the spotlights. And I'm smiling because I know what happened. They were so bombarded and didn't know what to do. They just had to shut her down, abort mission, because now you've got the girl, the young boy didn't come. Got the girl, and by the time she couldn't get from her car to the front porch. That's how bad it was. And she's like, and now we've got, and we don't know. And I'm like, we got this. Okay. First of all, you have to have a communicator there that can kind of, she can tell that person what she's getting, what she's seeing, and they can tell her what to say so she can sort this. Because it's kind of like the scene. Yeah. It's kind of like the scene at in Ghost with Whoopi Goldberg, and all the people are waiting to say they're just like Cyn said, waiting to get their part in, and the strongest one is going to get through.
Yeah.
The yelling, you have to and it's crazy. So again, she was just there to go, what do we do? And I said, well, okay, what did you get from it? There's an old lady here looking for her kids, just wandering around. She's screaming, and and this girl's going, there's an old lady there. She's like from the 1800s or something. She's screaming. She's looking for her kids, and she's like going in and out the woods and just zigzagging around. And there's this one over here, and they're asking her what she's seeing, and she's describing what's around her. And there's this one guy that's kind of like a 50s, early 60s greaser, from what I can understand, like with the motorcycle, with the black jacket, with the collar.
Yeah.
He's a real strong energy, and he's very erratic. And my friend is telling me about how she's trying to just tell him to calm down. And he's not even hearing them. And now you got three young Wiccas out there, and one real powerful one that knows how to manipulate energy. And Lord knows what's going on there. She's just trying to create a circle. We're just, and meanwhile, they're getting through, and they're screaming at this girl, my God. And they're gaining all this energy off of all this stuff. So it turns out that this young man is from an accident down the street, a couple of stop signs down the road. This is kind of off-country road. And he's been hanging around, and he T-boned on his motorcycle, dead instantly on the way. And she's getting this, but in pieces. So you can imagine, this is like having a dinner at the White House with all the ambassadors, and the translators and everybody in the circle, round robin, and just translating them. Just incredible. Everybody misses this side of the paranormal, unless you're doing it, So this guy is getting some of his message through. They calm the old lady down. They seem to be the most persistent, along with a lot of other. And it turns out the pieces of the story, he's on his way to ask the girl to marry him. Got the ring in his jacket pocket. He keeps showing the ring is gone.
Aww.
The ring is gone. He gets in the accident. The ambulance driver steals the ring. He sees this standing by his body. I see this. I see him. The creep, he took it, and he's talking in the 1960s greaser, Italian kind of, Jersey guy. And they're telling her, just tell him whatever he wants to hear. He doesn't hear them. Tell him just to get rid of him. And I'm like,
no.
No. So they stole the ring. He wants the ring back. He wants it. She's saying stuff like, he just wants us to tell his fiance he was on his way, whatever. And they're not sorting time. They're not sorting what decade are we in.
Mm-hmm.
Is she alive? Is she? We'll tell her. Just go away for now. You can't come now. Just we'll tell her. Okay, so now we've got a guy that's obviously back and forth in his time into our back and forth by his accident site looking for this ring, and this ambulance driver who in 1950
Mm-hmm.
but he's got some kind of hope because somebody told him that they're going to tell his fiance that he was on the way. And I'm like, you can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do this. We have to sort this. We have to go sort it.
No, yeah.
Now we
Exactly.
got to go look for this guy. That's ghost hunting, folks. Most of the time they find you because your energy, your spirit guides get with their people, and somehow, and they find you. But when you have to go and find somebody and fix this, and you don't realize, just by calling Bob Jack for 25 years, that's Bob. Oh, he was killed by a tractor out back, and he just
Mm-hmm.
comes in for a sandwich every now and then. We just love him. Ghosts aren't pets.
Right.
See, and that's not Jack. You know what I mean? It's so it's such an interesting subject, isn't it?
I love it.
This
I
has
love
been
it.
absolutely lovely. I told you you'd have a good time.
I always have a good time with you.
Isn't this wonderful? And we only got to one of her books. I realized that we jetted off this way, but I cannot help it with this lovely energy here. And with
Well,
all the energy, you go ahead, sweetie.
Let me tell you real quick. So
Hey, Yoda girl.
The second one is the fiction book that Mark
Okay.
and I did. And so that's this one. That's the fiction.
Okay.
And the
And
third
that's
one
scary
was
stories.
this was
That
supposed
one
to be
was
my
scary
first
stories.
one. Yeah. This was supposed to be my first one. This one has all over 100 EVPs in it from different investigations I've been on. And you can go to my website, elkvalleyparanormal.com, to the pull down section in the evidence and click on their speaking, and you can listen to all of the EVPs in this
Oh,
book.
wow. I love that. I love that. Like interactive. I love that. But, this is great. This is what's great about the internet, because you can do stuff like this, and that's clever, to do that. Love it. Love it. Go ahead.
And this is my fourth one. This was the one
Go, girl.
that is totally different. This one's totally different. God
Okay.
put this one on me and said, you need to write this.
Uh-huh.
And I had no idea why, because it's not scary stories like I'm used to writing.
Okay.
And this one is about near-death experiences. It's about visions, dreams of our loved ones coming back to us. It's about signs like pennies left for us,
cool.
feathers, red birds, hearing that favorite song, smelling the cologne. It's about pets coming back to us even. It's about
Love it.
Deathbed experiences when your loved one is getting ready to pass and they see their great uncle that's been dead for 70 years. And they're all in here. And I didn't have a lot of this, but I reached out to people, and there's over 50 stories in here from around the world. I've got one from England, and I meant around the United States, not around the world, but there is one from England and all of the United States, and Wyatt's story is in here.
Oh, wonderful.
So you get to read about my buddy, my Wyatt.
Isn't that great?
And then I've got number 5 coming out before Halloween. It's called Realm of Shadows. I'm working on the very last story right now. Mark is working on the last 2 illustrations, and it's done.
Wow. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's so exciting putting out a book. I'm still working on getting Cabin 22 in paperback. I did it so backwards. Said it started out as a short story. It grew in chapters like a Dickens serial. They used to release them back in the day, and I did that on purpose because he's one of my favorite authors. And I thought, hey, how cool! Stephen King did it with Green Mile. I did it with Cabin 22. So, and wrote it that way. Then recorded it, narrated it, recorded it. Then wrote the next thing and did it again and repeated it till it was done. It's the weirdest thing. So now I've got to take it and I'm putting it in book form. The quotes are killing me because I can get out everything else, but I got to go back space, quote, space. Yeah. And so many times. And it's not like I wrote it that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wrote it
Right.
knowing I was going to read it, you know, and do the voices and all that stuff. So I hope you'll be here for that. Pick a
I'd love
night.
to.
We'll talk about it. And we just do it like this. We'll play it. And, you know, sometimes we stop and talk about a thing and what it meant to you because there's so many different layers to this story. But one of the things, and then we're closed for the night, but I wanted to share with you that story we watched with the man who I totally believe had those experiences, very different, so many different layers to that, dreaming and waking up and he's still in the dream. We've all had that, I'm sure. I know I have.
Yeah.
Not like his, but you thought you were awake, but nope, it's more, you know. So but with him it was that moment of faith, what he fell back on almost as a child, like the host said. In the book, there is a part in chapter 3 where a young boy is in a cave going through some hard events there. And he has this moment. That's what it's from. This story and a combination of several stories I personally know from children that have had that moment of just thinking that Sunday school song. Just thinking that, you know, I think it's been used in horror movies everywhere, the Jesus loves me, you know, to taunt kind of thing. Those kind of things. Your faith in your core is so big and so important in this. Your light, what you carry naturally. But it's the little things we pick up along the way on our journeys that we're supposed to be enjoying, not suffering through, but enjoying through. And loving each other through and learning, you know, from each other's stuff and stop. It's a lie. You know, Bigfoot does it. No, Bigfoot does all those things. There's more than one kind. We'll talk about it. So it's more than one kind of ghost. We can talk about it, but it's that faith moment, you know, like I say all the time, look, if you don't believe it, you might as well throw a slipper at it. You know, you have to believe. And, you know, it's not how you present it. It's not that it's grandiose and thing. Listen, I've heard people do prayers in such a ritualistic way or read something powerful, you know, or anything like that, and with such they don't even know what they're saying, whether it's a pledge of allegiance or if it's whatever. You know, they're not even believing what they're saying. You're not hearing it. So, of course, that's not going to work. I've seen Dracula movies where the guy holds up a cross or he does this and the Dracula asks him, he said, you have to believe in it. That's the number one thing. So if you take anything away from tonight, understand that like Cyn and I are looking at it. We're just giving our theories or our thoughts on it. And you might have saw something we didn't see.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter. That's part of the dance. That's
and
part
we're all
of
learning.
Part of the
we're
band,
all learning
baby.
from each other. Yeah. Yeah. We're all taking and learning from everybody.
We're all singing it together and we're all learning it together. And I so many times people in this chat have thrown things in that went, oh, wow. Yeah. You know, absolutely. And that's this subject. And we could talk about this for days and years to come and show after show after show. And I hope we get to do that because this has been a blast. This has been a blast. And look, there's not many times I look at a calendar and look up at what do I got coming Sunday? Because I'm reading, you know, books, you know, I'm interviewing, you know, all these different people, and I want to understand it, you know, and I never tell anybody I read something I didn't, you know, I don't fake it. It's, if I don't know, I don't know. And, you know, or you have one that you're just like, oh, that's going to be a rough one because it's, you know, it's stuff I gotta, you know, I gotta learn about this or this. And some of this stuff takes a lot of research. Cyn, you know, you've done it.
Does.
You know, and tell us about your podcast that you're on.
I'm on legit.
Again, I wish them well. Tell them it's no problem. If they have an opening, we'll redo it. We were going to be on the show. Everybody got sick. So
Yeah, you're coming over on Legit Paranormal sometime in December on a Sunday night right before this show. So we'll have to do a double header that night.
Yeah. Oh gosh, twist my arm, as you say.
Right?
Twist my arm.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, man, this has been a blast, and I apologize for the overrun, but man, I could go on forever with you, girl. I
Well,
mean, this is just so much fun. So
you know me too. I could keep talking and they would probably be
and
bored
the
still.
chat, listen, everybody, welcome, everybody. I love you all. Happy Halloween. I hope you're enjoying all the extra videos and everything else. Please get over there on when you go to YouTube, there's a column of videos and then a column of live videos. So all of these shows that we do live are in that column. So a lot of new subscribers don't see those. They just see what we put in the videos. But this time, this spooky season, you're going to have a lot of extra ones. It's the treat bags. You don't know what you're getting in there. It might be alien abduction. It might be Bigfoot abducting an alien. I don't know. It's all these different wonderful tales, ghostly tales and mysteries and all kinds of fun stuff, and ghosts, of course. Go in there and watch those. They're great to watch with your kids. There's nothing that bad in them. You can put them up during a Halloween party, an office party, or something like that. Just have them running in the background on your laptop. You'll love them. And it's stuff you would see on TV in the 70s, even like some old mystery Chariots of the Gods kind of stuff and things like that. So it's all interesting. It's all this subject, and that's what this subject is. I get to meet great people like Cyn. Didn't you love her? And we're gonna have her back. She's part of the family now, aren't they?
Yay!
Yay. Okay. On our way out, we're gonna have a little bit from Jim, our wonderful in-house skeleton that just, don't just be a high vibrational light bringer. If you need to come here and get your light reduced, please do. That's what we're here for. Don't be like Jim, but he's struggling through life. We all do sometimes, but just remember, keep your vibration up if you can. Laughter is the best medicine for everything. And just meet back here Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, and you meet wonderful people like Cyn Shrader Hill. Thank you for being here tonight, sweetheart. Good night,
Thank you so
everybody. Good night, chat. I love you all. Good night, gatekeepers. Keep your lights on, folks. Good night. Good night, sweetheart. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for letting me. I've enjoyed it.
Great. It's been
I
great.
love all your people too. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, sweetheart.